105.7.
Checkered flag in the air.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
And welcome into the Thursday edition of Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Thursday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Hope everybody's doing well. Joe Rexrode, good morning. How are you?
I'm just peachy.
Good.
How are you guys doing?
Doing great. Michelle, good morning.
Guys, great. Quick little rant. Tried to watch the CMAs last night, streaming. It was one of the most difficult things to find streaming. Like only YouTube TV or another one, but signed up for a free trial. Got to cancel it this morning, but I hate where our world is going.
Ooh.
I was subjected to that whole thing too, just in my household last night. And look, you're talking to the wrong person because there's not an award show on the earth, and it doesn't matter what it is. It could be the ESPYs, it could be a country music show. Doesn't matter what it is. There's not an award show on the earth that I don't think is mind-numbingly stupid. So that's kind of where I approach things.
You had a similar perspective.
It's terrible to watch.
You had a similar perspective to somebody in my household
Yeah.
as well.
The only one that I ever, I kind of sometimes get into the Oscars, if I care about like the movie, the best film or whatever, or sometimes if the host is funny or gets punched or whatever.
Well, that helps.
But they did have last night that they had the Clogger, right?
Oh, yes.
What's his name?
The Clogger was up
Tennessee
there.
Clogger.
I don't know what his name is, but he was
pretty good, man.
Clogging.
He's pretty good.
Yeah.
I thought it was fake when I saw it on Twitter because I think everything's fake now, but
No, that guy is.
it was pretty great.
That guy's a machine.
He's the real deal.
Yes. I have a quick public service announcement for basically Nashville and the surrounding area.
Okay.
When you're driving in the car, that thing at the bottom of your seat, like on the floorboard on the right, it's called a gas pedal. You're allowed to step on it.
Mm-hmm.
I got behind like 3 people this morning. And look, I'm okay if you're going the speed limit, 5 miles an hour under the speed limit. If something's going on and you need to go, 10 miles an hour under the speed limit on the right lane, have at it. The amount of people that were on the interstate this morning, which is 70 miles an hour, that were going like 48, I'm like, what's going on around here? I got on the road over here by where our studio is. It's a 50-mile-an-hour speed limit. We were going like 32. I was like, we just taking a casual Thursday morning stroll? What in the world's going on out here? So I've complained about award shows and complained about every driver in the state.
That's 2 minutes into the show.
2 minutes into the show.
Are you feeling better?
Yeah, I'm sure I can find some more stuff to complain about today.
Were they in the left lane?
Oh, they were in both lanes. It was like, that's the worst. It's like side-by-side slowness.
Yeah.
There's nowhere for anybody else to go.
Sorry,
Got
man.
a whole crowd of people behind just riding along. Nothing happening here. Don't worry.
That's always great at 5 a.m.
Oh, yeah. That's
Or 1:30 a.m. before our pre-show.
yeah.
Yeah, Joe, don't forget that.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's been a few hours, but I've tried to calm down since then.
We finally talked you down.
Yeah,
around
thanks.
3:30.
Appreciate it. Joe, prepare yourself. I'm about to read off everybody that's on the Titans injury report from yesterday. Are you prepared to handle this?
Yeah.
It's a long list. We got Zach Cunningham, Bud Dupree, Amani Hooker, Jeffrey Simmons, Tierre Tart, Josh Thompson, Danico Autry, Aaron Brewer, Christian Fulton, Derrick Henry, Dontrell Hilliard, Lonnie Johnson, David Long, Kevin Strong, Ryan Tannehill, Torrey Carter. That is the injury report yesterday for the Titans.
So
It's a lot of people.
who on defense isn't on the injury report?
I mean, you've got both starting inside linebackers. You've got an outside linebacker on there. I guess your other starting
Yeah,
outside linebacker is not on there.
3D linemen, if
Yeah.
you're counting Autry.
Caleb Farley.
Yeah.
Well, according to Collinsworth, he's banged up, and once he gets healthy, watch out.
Yeah, just watch out for that. Christian Fulton.
No
on there
Byard.
with a hamstring.
No Byard's
Byard's not on
Byard's
there.
never on there.
Yeah.
Byard's just Iron Man. He's fine.
There's a lot of members of the Titans on that injury report. Now,
Yeah.
in fairness, like Danico Autry's on there. It's not injury related, but he's on there.
And Derrick Henry,
Derrick
by
Henry.
the way, is not injury related.
Correct. So we figured that may happen after the game Sunday night in terms of just guys getting some rest, but that's a lot of people that are on the injury report that are listed with some sort of injury, like Christian Fulton, hamstring, limited participant. I'm just like, geez. we get a week?
The hammy, man. So far, the hammy stuff this year has been it's been short term, right?
Yes.
I don't think anybody's had a hammy on there and then hasn't played, have they? I don't think that's happened. I could be wrong.
Well, Kyle Phillips got shut down with the hammy.
Okay.
But other than that, I think you're right.
That's right. He had the hammy before the shoulder, is that right? Or did he have
After
the
the
shoulder
shoulder.
first?
Shoulder
After the
first.
shoulder. Okay.
It's hard to keep up.
Well, and then actually I think there was a more serious hamstring injury for, was it McMath? McMath also,
Yeah.
which I don't honestly, maybe still on IR, but yeah. The hammy virus, not quite the same as last year, but look, those guys played, 178 plays against the Chiefs or whatever, so.
Yeah. Well, there's a few on here that are concerning from the standpoint of you felt like they were back, and now that it's back, and like Zach Cunningham, he has the elbow injury and he's out.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden now he's back with an elbow injury. And Bud Dupree with the hip, it's been an issue 3 separate times this year. I mean, it's just a lingering thing with those two guys.
Yeah, I mean, Cunningham, Dupree, and Hooker with the shoulder.
Yep.
Those are all serious threats to not play Sunday. And honestly, with Simmons, just the fact that late in that game he was, he appeared to re-aggravate the ankle. Imagine if just those 4 guys, Simmons, Hooker, Dupree, Cunningham. I mean, especially Simmons, Hooker, Dupree. They've been fine without Hooker. They've had a lot of football without Dupree, but Simmons has been there every single time out, So, and even David Long limited with a knee. And Autry, well, again, Autry's not in it, so at least he'll be back. But you take out Fulton with a hamstring, all of a sudden, what does that defense look like? It might be a 12-9 game instead of a 9-6 game.
Well, and then, I even looked at Dontrell Hilliard with the groin, who was a limited participant, and I'm just like, man, those soft tissue stuff, you start talking about groin. Like, no thanks. They need Dontrell Hilliard out there. We've talked about the playmaker that he's been. I mean, that's a crowded injury report for the Titans. And then you look at the Broncos, they had 3 guys that didn't practice yesterday.
It's amazing. What's that like? What is that like?
They had their injury report's a little bit longer, but they had 3 guys that didn't practice yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, today is, with some of these guys, it ends up being rest, right?
Yeah.
So today is always a big day to compare Wednesday to Thursday. You get some of those guys back or, even just limited who didn't play, and it's like, okay, they're probably okay. You get more DNPs, now you start talking about maybe a very different-looking defensive lineup Sunday.
On the Ryan Tannehill front, a limited participant yesterday with the ankle injury. He also spoke to the media, of which you were a part of, Joe, and asked several very good questions, as was pointed out on Jared versus Joe yesterday on the program.
Thank you, Jared.
Yes. So
Nice of you.
what were kind of your takeaways from Tannehill and what he had to say and how that could relate to his availability coming up on Sunday against Denver?
Well, he clearly wimped out Sunday. McNair would have played. And
That's what I hear.
And also, Vrabel's very angry. Vrabel's furious at Tannehill.
Yeah.
You can tell. You can tell when he answers questions about, like, the secondary, but there's really an underlying, like, anger toward Ryan Tannehill. Inspector Stillman has figured it all out. No, all those things I don't believe. I feel like there is a chance, that he could play Sunday, but you can read into it both ways. The fact that he was out there good. The fact that he talked about his frustration and how it's going to be lingering with him for a while.
Yeah.
Not good. So, I mean, I think that honestly you can take all the information on Tannehill and you can kind of believe what you want to believe. I have thought, oh, yeah, he's probably going to play. And now I'm more in the, I have a feeling it's still going to be a little bit. But I'm trying to remember, like last week, for example, was he a DNP the whole week?
I don't think so.
No, he was at least limited on one day,
Yeah.
right? So,
I think he was actually limited on Wednesday last week.
okay.
I think.
I think you're right. I think he was limited Wednesday, and then he went to DNP.
Correct.
So what happens today? They'll probably, if it's different than last Thursday, then that indicates some kind of progress. It still doesn't indicate he's going to play for sure, but some kind of progress.
By the way, Megan on the text line says, quote, Bayard's never owned there, end quote. Uh-oh, pointed at Rexrode.
Oh, yeah, my bad. You're right. You're
Knock
right.
on wood right now.
Yeah. It's knocked.
Yeah. I mean, it is pretty amazing how he's really not ever on there. But
It really is.
On the Tannehill front, I mean, look, he talked about the frustration that he's dealing with. He also talked about, one of the things that he did say yesterday was still dealing with in terms of frustration. And then there were, like you said, little hints that could leave you guessing either way, which I think is exactly what he and the Titans want. They don't want anybody to really know what's going on with the injury, but I don't know. Like, from watching him in those videos last Sunday and on the broadcast on Sunday Night Football and just how limited he looked out there, even if he can go, like, it's hard for me to believe that he's going to be moving around all that great coming up on Sunday against Denver.
That's weird because Jared thinks that he was just fine. He's just like, no, I don't want to get hit by the Chiefs. No thanks. Mike, can I sit? I don't want to play.
Because that's what you can say about Ryan Tannehill is he's not a tough guy.
Yeah, he's not tough at all. No, he hasn't demonstrated any toughness in his career.
Tell you what, you can add that one to the list of some takes from our good friend Jared Stillman.
Does that make the list?
Oh, I think it makes the list.
Yeah? Okay, I'll put it on the list.
The Steve McNair would have played with the injury that we don't really know what the injury is, but I think I know, so I'm going to go.
Even though McNair missed several games in his career?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
That's pretty good.
Nah, you're right. Okay, I'll put it on the list.
615-737-1025. We're off and running here today on Robby and Rexrode. We'll take your thoughts on the Titans at 615-737-1025. We'll get into the biggest surprises thus far in the NFL and also a very interesting story to monitor in the AFC that could also affect the Titans. All that coming up next. Make sure you start NFL Week 10 off the right way with a no-sweat same-game parlay from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel or already have an account. You'll get free bets back if your Thursday night same-game parlay doesn't hit. NFL same-game parlays are the perfect way to combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payday. A big one on Thursday Night Football in the NFC South. The mighty Carolina Panthers and Joe Rexrode's beloved Atlanta Falcons doing battle tonight. I will take the Atlanta Falcons on the money line, and I've said it this week, in homage to our good friend Marcus Mariota, an anytime rushing touchdown for him as well. But you can take it any way you want to take it. Build your own or choose from one of the popular same-game parlays pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. However you want to play, you can bet the NFL on Thursday night with a no-sweat same-game parlay. Just sign up with promo code ROB if you don't already have an account. If you do already have FanDuel, you're all set. Just sign in to see what you've got. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. 3+ legs, minimum $1 bet required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after receipt. A max free bet of $5. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Silly Underdog Picks is back. Get your friends and sign up today at thegamenashville.com. Pick the 3 football underdog teams each week you think will win for a chance to win weekly prizes, like a pair of tickets to a sporting event or to a concert in Nashville. Go to thegamenashville.com or the Game Nashville app and sign up and play now. Then tune in every Thursday at noon for our expert picks. Silly Underdogs is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket and Superbook Sports.
The final matchup of the Tennessee basketball team's 3-game series with Colorado is coming to Nashville. Don't miss the Tennessee Volunteers versus the Colorado Buffaloes at Bridgestone Arena Sunday, November 13th. Be there to witness your Volunteers in action as they look to run their all-time record against Colorado to 5-0. Sunday, November 13th, Bridgestone Arena. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Presented by Red Cap.
Hey, it's Eddie George. You know we all have crazy busy lives and don't take time to research car insurance, right? Well, you don't have to. Xander Insurance does all the work for you. Their system shops over 15 top companies to find you the best rates, and they keep shopping every year. Their clients have saved an average of $600. That's why I'm a client. Xander gives me more options. More options means more savings. Get free quotes at XanderInsurance.com or call 800-356-1780.
Now is a fantastic time to sell in Nashville, but you can't do it without the intel. And no one has better intel than the Gary Ashton team. You may be wondering, what is this intel I keep hearing about? Intel so you can sell your home without any staging or showings. Intel on where to find your next home so you can sell your current one while the market's hot. Intel that helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Everyone else is getting the same information and competing for the same properties. GaryAshton.com gives you the edge with the best real estate intel in Nashville. No one else even comes close. Plus, the Gary Ashton team is the official real estate agent for the Preds. Get the confidence to sell your home and find your dream address without the stress. Call the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage today at 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com. And remember, don't sell without the intel.
Genesis Diamond's biggest and last sale of the year is coming. November 18th, 19th, and 20th. It's an extraordinary event with savings of 20, 25, up to 35% store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets. Nothing's held back for this once-a-year, 3-day store-wide sale. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and special pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. Luxury pre-owned Rolexes are also included. It's the final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Genesis Diamond, November 18th through 20th only. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
It's on. It's happening.
Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way, I'm watching the game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We may now begin our day. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. We are live from the Hillside Medical Game Studio on this Thursday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. Taking your thoughts on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. So looking quickly around the NFL, Joe Rexrode, an injury out there that is interesting from the standpoint of nobody really knows what it's going to look like as they move forward. That could be very interesting in the AFC and could affect the Titans. Josh Allen and his UCL injury that he sustained on Sunday against the Jets with his elbow, his throwing elbow. Sean McDermott, head coach of the Bills, has listed him as day-to-day this week, and there were several attempts at the press conference yesterday to try to divulge a little bit more than that with Josh Allen, and to no avail. But it's got people speculating all over the place. Like, we're looking at UCLs, and people are talking to doctors, and they were talking on Max, or Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max about, what if he has to have Tommy John, like all this other stuff that is kind of getting out of control right now. But at the moment, at the very least, his status for this game coming up on Sunday against Minnesota, I think very much in question at the very least. So when you start talking about a UCL injury for your elbow, for a quarterback on your throwing elbow, that bears monitoring. And look, if they don't have him for an extended period of time, that dramatically changes what the Buffalo Bills are.
Oh, no question. Who the heck is their backup?
Case Keenum.
Yeah, it's actually, it could be worse.
Yeah,
there's one of those guys like, oh, still in the league, and
their third string is Matt Barkley.
Oh boy, I've heard some people this week say, "What about the Titans, Matt Barkley?" He's been here. He's had his shot too to hang with Logan Woodside. Couldn't quite hang with him. No, that's a big deal. Obviously, I feel like if it's a several weeks, and he can come back and beat Josh Allen, I don't care if they're on the road or home in the playoffs. I still think they'd have a great shot at getting to the Super Bowl. But you can certainly. The thing is, if you're the Titans with that, I mean, that's a potential opening for you. If they're going to take some L's, and then you look back at this last game, and you're like, if you beat the Chiefs right now, you'd be on the track toward chasing the one again. Yeah. And now that's going to be much tougher. But still, the picture would definitely change. I mean, think about it would really be a shame, honestly, if it was such a deal that they lost enough games that they missed the playoffs. I mean, they're 6-2, so they've got some cushion here. Although that division is good. I mean, they just lost with him to the Jets, who were 6-3. Dolphins 6-3. The AFC East being really good this year. Okay, and the AFC West being pretty stinky. Didn't see that either. Saw the opposite of that happening this year.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, you're looking at the schedule. You got the Vikings this week if you're the Bills, which, I mean, look, 7-1 Vikings, 6-2 Bills. It's a game to look forward to if Josh Allen was playing. After that, it's the Browns and the Lions for the Bills. So I guess apparently the Bills and the Lions are the Thanksgiving game this year.
Oh, goody.
Congratulations to the city of Detroit.
Congratulations to the country.
For that one. But I say that, like, if it's a short-term injury, if you got Case Keenum in there, if you're the Bills for the Browns game and the Lions game, you could probably maybe afford not to have Josh Allen for at least one of those two.
Yeah, although those Lions get after
know.
it on Thanksgiving Day, man.
Yeah, they do.
Get after it. Well,
As you're well aware.
they'll probably go on a win streak so they can pick like 14th.
They probably will.
And still have no chance of making the playoffs. That's very Lions-like.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, that's pretty favorable. Obviously, you would think for them. I mean, if Case Keenum, you still got playmakers all over the field. Get the ball out quickly.
Wasn't it Case Keenum who was the quarterback on the Miracle in Minnesota to Stephon Diggs?
Yes.
Yeah.
It sure was.
Case Keenum's made some plays out there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I mean, really, like, you can definitely do. Now, I haven't seen him play football in a few years. He hasn't played. But you can do worse than Case Keenum. So, but the Bills, so much of the Bills is predicated on Josh Allen extending plays and just all of a sudden turning into, I guess, Taysom Hill basically when he runs the ball, and just. Those scramble plays that just kill defenses. So you take that out of it, they still have a very good defense. They still have very good weapons. You'd think they'd want to actually run the ball more, which they have been talking about, but they still never really do.
Yep. So let me ask you this. In the AFC, what's the bigger surprise to you? The Jets being 6-3 or the Raiders being 2-6? I don't know why I just randomly selected those two teams. But the Jets being 6-3 or the Raiders being 2-6? What's the bigger surprise?
I'd go Jets. I mean, look, with first of all, with the Raiders, immediately when they hired Josh McDaniels, I'm like, yeah, really? You sure?
Yeah.
You sure about that, Mark? Mark, have you gotten a haircut yet, Mark?
By the way, shout out to Big Orange Mac on Sunday who referred to Kirby Smart as Colonel Bowlcut. Maybe applicable for Mark Davis as well.
We love you, Big Orange Mac. Yeah, he might be General Bowlcut actually. But no, I would go Jets. 6-3.
Yeah,
I mean that guy's done a heck of a job. Robert Saleh, heck of a job, man, with the Jets with their defense. They got legit D. I mean they're 6-3 with quarterback issues.
Yeah,
so I'd have to go there. But it's close. I mean, the Raiders, again, I thought Raiders and Broncos and Chargers would all be better than they are. I was like, I think I talked myself at one point, like, are the Chiefs going to be fourth?
We had that conversation.
Yeah.
They're not going to be fourth.
It wasn't a fever dream. We actually said that in public. Great.
Oh, we weren't the only ones. We didn't buy it, I don't think, but we were asking the question.
But instead, it's like, Chiefs are clearly the best, and then what you guys do whatever you want to do. And the Broncos and Raiders are just cheeks. It's pretty surprising.
So, which team in the NFL thus far has surprised you the most in terms of maybe overachieving? The Giants are 6-2, the Jets are 6-3, the Seattle Seahawks with Geno Smith as their quarterback are 6-3.
Ding.
That's probably where I'm going. Pete Carroll. We talk about Coach of the Year. And I do believe, like, Vrabel, just with what he's done, belongs in that conversation. There are a lot of guys in that conversation. Sirianni's in that conversation. Pete Carroll should be. Obviously, Daboll, Robert Saleh. There's a lot of people.
O'Connell
for sure.
Yes. But I'm with you, man. I think it's the best story in the NFL because you want to talk about stuff we've said on this show. I thought they were going to – I was like, oh, okay. So they're Pete Carroll is going to hang around long enough to tank because he has one of those quarterbacks in mind. And it's like, okay, we'll just tank with Drew Lock or Geno Smith.
Yeah.
And, get that QB and they'll try to make one more run. And they are legit. First of all, there are a few things about them. Geno is good, man. Geno's good. He had a bad pick. I watched basically that whole game. He had a bad pick. And it kind of changed the game, and it gave the Cardinals lead. And from there, 2 straight, 75-yard, perfect touchdown drives. Perfect. Another thing, Kenneth Walker is going to be a top 5 running back in this league, quickly.
Yeah.
He's going to be one of the best running backs in the league, and he's a stud. And I knew that last year when he should have been in New York. And they got it, I mean, you figure a lot of the rest of the team, they had some good pieces, but I thought they'd be garbage. I mean, the New York teams are very surprising, so it is close. But I think Seattle is going to, we'll see. The Niners may yet turn it on here with McCaffrey and everything, but I think Seattle could win that division. That's shocking. Seattle winning that division? And I'm with you, Pete Carroll. And then meanwhile, it's like, you let the NFL is going to be turned on its ear. Russell Wilson in Denver. And it's like, okay, now I get it, Pete.
Well,
I get a lot of things Pete has done in the last couple years now.
That's what I was going to say. Like, putting my tinfoil hat on for a second. Like, we wondered after they got rid of Russell Wilson, like, okay, you going to get Baker Mayfield? You going to, like, trade for, I don't know, Sam Darnold?
Got to do something.
You got to do something. It's Geno Smith and Drew Lock. What in the world are you going to do with that? And I'm not saying that, I don't know if this was always like the plan. Like, oh, yeah, Geno Smith's our guy. But I do wonder, like, if you're Pete Carroll, obviously part of what I was wondering about was, like, at his age, you've just traded Russell Wilson. Are you hanging around for a rebuild? Like, why would you want to do this? Do you think that maybe he knew that Russell Wilson was going down?
I don't think there's any question. I don't think that's even – I mean, I don't even think that's like a tinfoil hat thing. I mean, it's just, look, you're not going to say that out loud, right? Actions speak.
Yeah.
And it's like people still value him higher. I mean, it's clear. Like, we valued him way higher. I mean, go back to even like the Titans winning Seattle last year. He got a couple freebie touchdowns. Titans gave him some coverage bust, and here you go. Arm punt that for a touchdown. But he wasn't that good. And he really wasn't that good. And he's been banged up, and I think the injuries are definitely a part of him diminishing some. But, yeah, I think Pete Carroll knew that that it was going in the wrong direction and that there is still value that you could capture out of that, and it's pretty brilliant.
And now the Titans get to see Russell Wilson coming up on Sunday. Looking forward to
that
offense. And
let's ride, Broncos Nation.
Maybe what an offensive battle overall that one can be coming up on Sunday. 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. Coming up next, we'll get into the Vols and what they still have left to do on the field. Is there any reason for concern at all for this Tennessee football team as they move forward, beginning on Saturday against Missouri? We'll get to that coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Want a chance to win tickets to an upcoming Preds game?
Yes.
Tune in to Robby and Rexrode every weekday Preds game day at 8:45 for Preds Pick to Click. Guess a goal scorer and win.
I'll take Roman Yossi.
Matt Duchene. Pick to Click is brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they are referred so often. And by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
Preds Pick to Click.
We are 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
As a roofer, every second counts. Late deliveries and incomplete orders cost me time and money. That's why I partner with Beacon. Beacon's unique network of branches work together to get me what I need when I need it. Every branch working together. With Beacon, I know my supplies will be delivered on time and complete. Homeowners rely on me, so I rely on Beacon because I never stop building, and neither do they. Go to BECN.com to get started building with Beacon. Beacon, always building.
Family Leisure's Ultimate Game Room Sale is back.
Huge discounts up to 50% off on all kinds of game room furniture and accessories.
Slate pool tables from Brunswick and Legacy pool tables. Prices starting as low as $14.99 installed.
Perfect for Christmas.
Family Leisure has huge savings on massage chairs. Full body massage chairs starting at only $9.99. 4D massage chair more than half off at $29.99.
Family Leisure guarantees to beat anyone's advertised home theater seating prices. Shuffleboards, foosball, and air hockey tables on sale as well.
That's Family Leisure at both locations, Franklin and Antioch.
Blackberry Smoke's Brothers and Sisters Ryman Reunion.
Yeah, I can feel a good one coming on.
Thursday and Friday, February 9th and 10th, Ryman Auditorium.
Are we waiting for the thunder?
Blackberry Smoke.
My pony ride out of this one horse town.
Tickets on sale this Friday at 11 a.m. at Ryman.com. Sponsored by PNC Bank and Access, proud partners of Ryman Auditorium.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. See better and stay safe on the road with our visibility event. Right now, you can earn up to $20 in bonus rewards when you buy a pair of Rain-X Quantum Wiper Blades and Sylvania Silverstar Ultra headlights. Take advantage of the rewards from October 31st until November 13th, in-store or on AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply. Offer available to AutoZone Rewards members.
Football season is underway, so now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. Just sign up with promo code PLAY. FanDuel has all your favorite bets from the money line to point spreads to player props. So sign up today with promo code PLAY for your no-sweat first bet. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
21 plus in select states. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expires in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG in Colorado, Iowa, Michigan, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Illinois, and Virginia. 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT-STEP to 53342 in Arizona. 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. 1-800-9-WITH-IT in Indiana. 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com in Kansas. 1-877-770-STOP Louisiana. 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 in New York. Tennessee Redline 1-800-889-9789 in Tennessee. 1-800-522-4700 in Wyoming or visit 1-800-GAMBLER.net in West Virginia.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fansville, where the refs are always wrong and Dr. Pepper is always right. Always. Where the mountains are capped with cooler ice and children learn the 23 flavors of Dr. Pepper before they learn the alphabet. Smart. It's the one place where a man is a 6 unless he's wearing face paint. He's a 10. And where fans deserve a Dr. Pepper no matter if they win or lose. But we're gonna win. Get ready for anything to happen this college football season on Fansville by Dr. Pepper. The one fans deserve. Grab some today.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck on Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Join Big Joe Dubin and Elijah Campbell tomorrow for the Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz, presented by National Playmakers Academy from 6 to midnight. They'll preview the big games and then take you through the night of high school football around the mid-state playoff action here in the state of Tennessee. It's the Apple Collision Center's Game Blitz, presented by National Playmakers Academy on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode. We are taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. So, Joe, we've talked a lot about the overall discussion with the Tennessee Vols and how that relates to the college football playoff. We'll have more to get into on that front a little bit later in the program with Ari Wasserman joining the show from The Athletic at 8 o'clock, so looking forward to that. On the field, still some business to take care of from Tennessee. They've got Missouri, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt left on the schedule. At first glance, Joe, I think most people would say, all right, probably not going to be any problems for Tennessee there as they move forward. Do you agree with that? How do you view the rest of the schedule here? Coming off of the Georgia game, any concerns with this Tennessee team as they look ahead to the rest of their schedule here with their home finale being this Saturday against Missouri?
I mean, I've already declared that they're going to blow these last three teams out. So, but that said, every once in a great while, I'm wrong. I mean, as you know, it doesn't happen much, man. It's very rare. No, look, it's really fascinating to me just how they come out Saturday, because it's amazing in sports how you're doing something the same basically all year, and you got everything rolling, and the confidence is sky high, and then you get punched in the mouth, which is what happened to the Vols. And it's amazing how many times in sports that will affect a team afterward. You know, what if the Vols come out and just have a couple 3-and-outs to start the game against Missouri? Mm-hmm. You start having a little question in your mind. I mean, I think they're going to absolutely dismantle Missouri ultimately on Saturday, but Missouri has played some good Look, Missouri has good defense. Missouri has a real defense, and what they did to Georgia in particular. I mean, look, I understand it's like if they played again, I'm sure Georgia would boat race them. But that night, they manned up their receivers, and they got after Stetson Bennett, and they were a legit-looking defense, and they've played other good defensive games. We saw – and also, look, last year when the Vols scored 117 points in the first half on them and ran for 500 yards or, something in that neighborhood, I'm sure that's being talked about this week
I'm sure it is.
In the Missouri building, right? So I'm really interested. I think of the last 3 games, I think the game at South Carolina would have to count as the most dangerous one. Just because, look, Spencer Rattler may not be what he was cracked up to be, but he's still talented. I mean, he's capable at home at night of making some plays against that Tennessee defense and making that game interesting. But this one is big just to try to get themselves back playing the way they've played most of the year.
Well, this is what Missouri's defense has done in SEC play. They gave up 17 to Auburn, 26 to Georgia, 24 to Florida, 14 to Vanderbilt, 10 to South Carolina, 21 to Kentucky. So you're talking about a team that in SEC play has not given up more than 26 points in a game, and that was to Georgia. And they've got a legitimate defense. Like, they got some guys in the corner, in the secondary that can run. And that's the thing. Like, if you're Tennessee, another thing to point out here is, the Georgia game was at home, the Kentucky game was at home for Missouri, and you're going on the road to Neyland. I know it's a noon game, Eastern time, but it's going to be a sold-out crowd there. So you're going to have a lot to deal with there if you're Missouri. But they have been able to defend the pass pretty well so far this year. So if you're Tennessee coming off a game where you didn't get a whole lot accomplished offensively, can you respond against a defense that in SEC play, every number out there would suggest they've been pretty good?
Yeah, and like with Hooker in particular too, just you had a rough game. You missed a couple opportunities. Do you just get right back to just dropping it in the bucket? Because for as good as any defense is out there, again, Tennessee's going to find a way to get guys open deep. Like they do it. They've done it every single week. Now, some games they do it 12 to 14 times a game, right. And in Georgia they did it 3 times, I guess, because Fant was also open down the sideline, and he overshot him. But the two, McCoy and Hyatt in particular, were wide open. So you're going to have those opportunities. Does Hooker come right back and all of a sudden he's laser sharp and just bounces back? Because that's like if you're a linebacker who has a bad game, the next week just go out, just fly around and hit people. Quarterback's a little bit different.
Yeah. Well, and the flip side of this matchup, Joe, is I don't think Missouri's offense is very impressive, and I think Tennessee's defense should be able to have a pretty good day. So, I think Tennessee's probably not going to have to get into the 40s to win this game. It's probably going to have to get into the high 20s, maybe lower 30s to win this game, if I had my guess. Maybe not even that much, but I am interested to see how their offense responds after what happened last week. Like, in terms of worrying about, like, being upset, I don't think Tennessee's got much of a shot to be upset as they move through the next 3 games. I just think their offense is going to be too much for these teams, especially when you factor in, like, Missouri, I think, is the best defense they're going to see as they move through these next 3 games. And I don't think Missouri's offense is good enough to keep up with Tennessee's, even if Missouri has a good day on defense. I hear you on the South Carolina one. I mean, it's Knights, William Bryce. It's a pretty underrated environment, actually.
Yeah.
And,
Sandstorm.
Sandstorm. If Spencer Rattler gets rolling, maybe you get into a shootout there under the lights at Williams Bryce. But the Vols are going to be, they are a double-digit favorite in this game, and they're going to be significant favorites in the other 2 as well.
And I think if they get things going back the way they want them, just get back to their execution, get back to their confidence, then you can roll it into the next week, and I'm sure they'll be fine. Another thing is, do they need to think? I mean, they just need to win 3 games, and they're going to be in position. But look, if I'm Josh Heupel, as these games unfold, I'll tack on another touchdown. I'll tack on another touchdown or 2 if it's possible.
Well,
there's no harm in that at all.
There's no harm in that, and I don't know ultimately at the end of the day if, beating the absolute crap out of Missouri, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt is going to matter that much. But I can tell you this, if they don't, if they win the Missouri game by 3 points, that will matter.
Yeah.
So there is some style points that I think need to be in play here if you're Tennessee.
Yeah, you want to avoid the perception that, they're wobbling and look at that. That's not impressive. I mean, I don't think there's much difference between like winning by 20 or by 40, but there's a difference between winning by 9 and 20 or whatever. I mean, like you want to
leave no doubt.
A high teens margin at least, I'd say, in these games, just to make it clear you're back to dominating people.
And the line for Tennessee, Missouri is Tennessee minus 20.5. So about a 3-touchdown favorite for the Vols on Saturday. I mean, you covered on that. It'd be pretty good for the Vols.
Yep.
Take that right now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure I know, some Tennessee fans want to see 63-3, but yeah, cover on that, you're fine.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what this looks like for them, particularly on offense, how they respond to it, but I do not anticipate many problems for the Vols in these next 3 games. So I look forward on Monday coming back in here when I'm in Neyland on Saturday and discussing a nice 26-25 win for the Vols.
Yes.
Maybe a 26-25 loss.
Well, if it's a loss, when's the next time you'll go back there?
2055.
Just to say your goodbyes.
I do want to point out I was in the building for the famous Tennessee and Wyoming game. That was fun.
Wow.
Well, that was when I knew Fulmer was done. Like, all right, see ya.
Yeah. 08, right?
That was 08.
That was 08, yeah.
Tough one.
But you were there. You've been there for good moments, too.
I have.
And Michelle's been there for good moments for
she
Tennessee.
She has. Maybe that's what we need, Michelle, to go to every game.
Yeah, just send me to every game.
The average margin of victory when Tennessee is there is quite high.
The other team.
38 points a game margin.
Pretty good.
When Michelle's there.
All right. We don't need to say the exact numbers.
615-737-1025. Coming up next, it's time for the best and worst things in sports for this week. As always, we'll take your submissions on our text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5-106.3, The Game.
At some point, it's a combination of who did you play and what does your skill set look like.
Get the best analysis of the big stories in the sports world with ESPN's Jason Fitz.
If you reach for a quarterback in the draft because you need one, you're going to set your franchise back 5 years.
Join Fitzy every Wednesday at 4:30. Presented by Blood Assurance. Jason Fitz.
I am 5'9.5"
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. Forecast for us today. Seeing high temperatures in the middle 70s and increasing cloud cover. Rain returns overnight tonight into your Friday, and then temperatures fall into the 50s for the upcoming weekend.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Did somebody say flatbreads? If you haven't already, you need to get to Twin Peaks and try out their new in-house made flatbreads. 4 options including the Hottie Jalapeno Popper, Hawaii 5-0, the Italian, and the OG Pepperoni. Ask your Twin Peaks girl for more details and availability.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 18th, 19th, and 20th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, Genesis selection is nearly double, with designers flying in their entire collection all on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Luxury pre-owned Rolex is also included. Save up to 35% and get 0 interest financing. Genesis Diamonds. November 18th through 20th only, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics wants to thank their patients for voting them the #1 orthopedic practice in the Nashville Scene Poll for 3 years in a row. Their physicians specialize in spine, joint replacement, knee, hip, upper extremity, and other orthopedic conditions. At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, they adhere to all CDC guidelines for the patient's and staff safety. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all physicians, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
Guys, listen up. If you're suffering from hair loss, then you got to check out Bosley. Bosley offers the most advanced technology to restore your hair. All it takes is a simple one-day procedure to get your hair back. Plus, Bosley can help you keep the hair you have and grow more hair where you need it most. There is no comparison when it comes to hair restoration. Bosley is literally America's most experienced hair restoration experts. And believe me, you want to go to the experts. The doctors at Bosley have done the most procedures using the latest technology, and experience matters. Best of all, Bosley's permanent solution is backed by Bosley's guarantee. It's a no-brainer. When it comes to restoring your hair, you want to go with the name America trusts. That's Bosley. Check them out today. Get a free information kit and gift card for $250 off when you text WIN to 203-203. That's WIN to 203-203. Don't wait. Take action now and get your hair back. Text WIN to 203-203.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? Thinking about gas mileage. You know, changing your oil with a full synthetic oil like Mobil 1 can help your engine get more miles. Right now, you can get 5 quarts with an STP extended life oil filter for only $37.99. Get everything you need for better fuel efficiency at any of our 6,200 stores or on AutoZone.com.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Chase McCade.
You get a little fired up for that. Pads start popping.
Willie Donick.
And you're just thinking, this guy's unbelievable.
And Derek Mason.
Now I got to run a little bit faster so I don't get hit.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. The best and worst of the sports week, now on Robby and Rexrode.
On ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It is that time of the week, time for the best and worst things in sports for this week here on Robby and Rexrode. We'll take your submissions, your text at 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Joe Rexrode, as you do on a weekly basis, would you like to kick us off this week with your best and worst things in the world of sports?
You know I would.
I know you would.
Sorry, I'm checking a name to make sure I get this right. I mean, look, let's be honest here. Like the best thing is very, very obvious, is it not? College hoops is back.
I knew you were going
right?
there.
Well, of course I'm going there.
Of course he's going there.
I knew that's exactly where you were going.
Where else would anyone go? Where else would anyone go? Very exciting. And by the way, shout out to, so Belmont. I mean, I don't know what kind of year they're going to have. Obviously, some huge losses. Now they're moving, different league, and it's just, it's going to be very interesting. But what happens? You come out with a really good game, by the way, in the first game against Ohio. That was actually one of the better games in all of college hoops. And Cade Tyson with the buzzer beater, the beautiful play design from Casey Alexander, comes out, nails the three-pointer at the buzzer. So that's a heck of an opening night for college basketball. College basketball is back. Lady Vols also had a really fascinating game at Ohio State. Turned over 29 times. Very disappointing loss for number 5 Tennessee, but they're going to be good. UT men are going to be good. Vanderbilt loses to Memphis. I can go on and on. Vanderbilt, I think, is still an intriguing team.
Kentucky's backcourt looks unreal.
Louisville looks cheeks. So you're loving both of those things. So that's my best thing. My worst thing is the Nashville Predators. They are a real problem right now. They are a real problem right now. And tonight's a big game. Maybe Colorado gets the best out of them, but they got stuff to figure out. Like you gotta stop messing around. I know that division, I mean, like St. Louis fans would be like, well, really? You guys have problems? I mean, it's upside down right now. But so there's time it's gonna change, but you gotta get your stuff together. It's pretty brutal.
It's been very bad thus far. Michelle Knezovic, your best and worst things in the world of sports.
Okay, I have 2 small worsts, so we'll start with worst. So this one it's kind of sports because now Twitter, you can pay to get verified. And I already was so gullible on Twitter before, just sending things to you guys. And don't get me wrong, like I would say my record is probably 70% correct, and then that 30%, though, some of those stories just really get me. And I'm just like reading off Twitter, and I didn't know it was in effect yet. I didn't know that we could already start paying for check marks. And I'm just reading these stories last night, and Ryan is like, "What are you talking about?" And then I see, oh, the @ sign is not actually Adam Schefter. So
they're out in force on Twitter.
So there's that. And everybody just watch out and don't be spreading news unless you actually know it is true. Something that I thought was fake this week that also is going to be my worst when Jeff Saturday got announced as the Colts head coach. But he is not the worst. Listen, I'll give him a chance, whatever. But Jim Irsay's press conference, I went back and watched that on Tuesday, and I was just sitting there, watching that for 30 minutes. And if you closed your eyes and didn't know who was talking and you didn't hear the questions from the reporters, you really would have no idea what that press conference was about. It was just all over the place. It was absolutely just wild and insane. But listen, I recommend you go listen to that because it's kind of funny as well.
So wait, that's your worst?
Well, the worst for like
best.
if you're a Colts fan, if you're in the Colts organization, like what the heck is happening right now? But it's also kind of funny if you're not. So my best this week, obviously, shout out to basketball starting. But I don't know if you guys saw this video on the Ravens Instagram and Twitter account. Lamar Jackson surprised this young boy with a heart condition. Yeah. And he was sitting there in his Lamar jersey. And all of a sudden, they just open the door, and he has no idea Lamar's about to walk in. And the little kid just gets up, runs to Lamar, and just starts hugging him and just won't let go. Lamar's like, "I like your jersey, bud," and he's just crying, looking at him in shock. And it's really awesome, and you love to see when players, give back and do things like that, especially for this kid who's going through something that not many people could imagine going through. So that was my best, and Irsay was like the in-between one.
Yeah.
It's eye of the beholder.
It was a transition one.
It is the eye of the beholder. All right, my best thing in sports, and this happened last week, but I feel like more attention should be brought to it, so I'm going to do it. Hani Mukhtar, MVP in the MLS. Obviously, we've talked a lot about Hani Mukhtar and the way that he has transformed Nashville SC. He was the Golden Boot winner this year for the most goals in the league, and everybody around here thought he should be MVP. We thought he had a case last year to be MVP, but he won the award this year. So the 2022 Landon Donovan MLS Most Valuable Player Award winner, Hani Mukhtar, my best thing in sports for Nashville SC.
Good call.
My worst thing in sports, I have two parts. Number one, people like Joe Rexrode who think LSU have a good argument of being in the college football playoff. My worst thing in sports this week, honorary. My actual worst thing in sports, the Green Bay Packers. They're awful. And I texted you this after the game Sunday. Right now, with the way that they're playing right now, they might be the worst team in the league. And that's not an exaggeration. They might be the worst team in the league. I know the Colts have an argument for that. The Texans have an argument for that. The Packers are right there with them, man. They're awful. 3-6. They're absolutely terrible. It's unbelievable
December
how
4th.
bad that they've been. Yes.
The question is, will you and I both witness the turnaround? Because we're both going to be in Lambeau a week from today.
Yeah, I'm
right?
jealous.
Is it a week from today? Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
A week from today, both going to be in Lambeau, and maybe against the Titans, they'll turn it around.
I'm going to doubt it. I would take Derrick Henry over on rushing yards right now. That would be my advice to you. But it's to be a team that
fantastic.
A lot of people picked to – now, I did not pick this, but a lot of people picked to go to the Super Bowl before the season started. To be at 3-6 is kind of incredible. Like, it's pretty unreal how quickly they've fallen now. They were 3-1 at one point. They're now 3-6.
It warms my cold, dead heart, I must tell you. Another honorary mention for worst, by the way, is the Bruins Mitchell Miller thing. If anybody doesn't know that story, ugh, awful.
Yeah. Let's go to the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Tyler says, the best in sports has to be Desmond Bain. What a player, and he's really upped his game this year. He already has 6 games of 28 points or more. The Grizzlies have found a great backcourt. What a turnaround from the grit and grind days. Certainly a different style of basketball that is played now by the Memphis Grizzlies.
I love it.
Days.
More hoops.
Yeah.
More hoops. No, Bain is awesome.
Ryan in Nashville says the best thing in sports, Alabama sucks this year and won't make the college football playoffs. The worst thing in sports, according to Ryan, David Poyle and John Hines are still with the Preds. I think a lot of frustrated Predators fans right now.
I got a mailbag today, and I just put all the questions about when they're being fired all together. It's like this huge block of complaining. But I get it. I'm not. Look, I get it. I get the frustration.
I get the frustration as well. Joey from Bellevue on the text line says the best is Walker Zimmerman and Shaq Moore from Nashville SC representing the USA in the World Cup. We're getting close to World Cup action here.
Yes. So, yeah, I'm trying to think.
Really sad we're not having one here.
Yeah.
Yeah. That wouldn't be till 2026 anyway.
Right. But although, actually, the former FIFA head was like, yeah, it's a complete sham that it was ever in Qatar. It should have been in the North America this year.
Yep.
No kidding.
You don't say.
But too late for that.
It is too late for that.
Job, FIFA.
615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. In retrospect, I can't believe my best thing in sports wasn't Alabama losing their second game. What's wrong with me?
Yeah, that's another. Well, there's always a lot of good candidates for either one. This is one where reader participation, every week, it's like, oh yeah, that should have been my best, or oh that should have been my worst. Yeah. But Irsay, that's on the best.
Although I will say, and this happens every time, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, the exaggeration of maybe the demise of Alabama is...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they've lost 2 games by a combined 4 points, and their field goal kicker missed the kick in the Tennessee game, and they couldn't stop a 2-point conversion in the other one. It's not like they're getting killed out there.
No, it's 2 things. It's the 2 things being true at once. Go ahead and count them out at your own peril. Nick Saban's probably going to figure it out and have really good teams moving forward. The other thing is, though, I do buy into, Georgia has kind of taken their place as that program that sets the standard. And I know it's one national title, but when you lose what they did and then you have this team.
Yeah.
So I think both those things are true, but I also think we're going to have more big Georgia-Bama, clashes and spots in the playoff and all that stuff ahead. I got a texture here. Best thing, Jared's film room. Worst thing, Jared's film room. Fitting.
It is fitting. Speaking of Jared's film room, we'll have our own session coming up next with Jared Stillman joining the program. We'll get his thoughts on what he's seen in #Jared's film room. That's next.
So much.
This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
You love the game.
Predators win it in overtime. Touchdown, Tennessee.
We live the game.
My quarterback needs me to step up.
He can make a defense pay.
We got pass rushers.
Checkered flag in the air.
Awesome game 7.
What a stop made by UC Sarah.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey football fans, Patrick Mahomes here, and I'm here to tell you that with NFL Sunday Ticket only on DirecTV, you can watch your favorite team no matter where you live. Because NFL Sunday Ticket gives you every live out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. So switch to DirecTV and learn how to get the 2022 NFL Sunday Ticket season included at no extra cost. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
With choice package and above, 24-month agreement required. Call for details.
Men, are you asking yourself questions like, why am I gaining fat? Why is my energy or sex drive down and maybe haven't been getting the exercise you need? If you want to get back to the man you used to be, but just don't have that youthful energy, that edge you once had, you very well might have low testosterone. Low T causes all kinds of issues, from a reduced libido, lower drive, and bad sleep patterns to problems with muscle gain, bone density, and more. It may even contribute to erectile dysfunction, and if this sounds like you, it's probably time to get treated for your low T. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've treated thousands of men for low T. We've seen them put on muscle, add to their energy, improve their sex lives, get better sleep, and just feel better. Plus, if you're like most men, you'll see results in only a few weeks. So make an appointment today and experience how testosterone therapy can truly change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. Call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments, extra, results vary.
Blackberry Smoke's Brothers and Sisters Ryman Reunion.
Yeah, I can feel a good one coming on.
Thursday and Friday, February 9th and 10th, Ryman Auditorium.
Are we waiting for the thunder?
Blackberry Smoke.
My pony ride out of this one horse town.
Tickets on sale this Friday at 11 a.m. at Ryman.com. Sponsored by PNC Bank and Access, proud partners of Ryman Auditorium.
You're the one who protects the flock, and that requires an eye for detail. Because when safety and well-being are on the line, it's the details that can save lives. Even when no one else is watching, you see everything. Grainger gets you, and we're here for you, and all the ones who get it done with a wide range of safety products and solutions, plus board-certified safety consultants here to answer your questions. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Different how? Aren't we all just looking for the hottest stocks?
Nope. We use diversified strategies to position our clients' portfolios for their long-term goals.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No. We tailor our clients' portfolios to their goals and needs.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions for you, right?
No, we don't sell commission-based products. We're a fiduciary, the highest standard of care for a financial advisor. It means we're obligated to act in our client's best interest.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Sounds like you really look out for your clients.
We do, because our priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. That might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments in securities involve the risk of loss.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, your Nashville Predators wrap up a 5-game road trip against the defending Stanley Cup champion Colorado Avalanche. Coverage begins at 7 on your home for Smashville. WPRT FM Pegram, WBUC HD2 Laverne,
a Cromwell media station.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive, this is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Thursday morning. And as we do every Thursday morning at 7 o'clock, we welcome in our good friend Jared Stillman to the program. Jared, good morning. We got a losing streak in Jared versus Joe that we got to address. What in the world's going on with you, my friend?
Yeah, well, I think you could back me up on this one. I lost yesterday because of what I am now calling Karanon, which is this belief that a 2-loss LSU team can find their way into the college football playoff over a 1-loss Tennessee team. So, Caroline, I don't know if she wants to believe it. I don't know, if she's just pushing on me. I don't know. People accuse me of having takes. They're like, there's no way he believes that. I mean, there's no way that she believes a 2-loss LSU team will get in over a 1-loss Tennessee team.
Did she say that?
What's that?
She said they'd get in?
No, she doesn't. But
Okay.
she thinks that they have a quote-unquote good argument.
They do.
Which is what Joe was saying, except for Robby, I want your thoughts on this.
Oh, you know my thoughts, but continue.
So Caroline and Joe both argue that they have a good argument to get in, but then neither would put them in over Tennessee. Then that means it's not a good argument, right?
No. What?
I was saying
No.
yesterday.
English.
I'm on Team Jared. I was saying yesterday, there's every argument is in the favor of Tennessee. Every one of them. If things remain the same, they're 11-1. There's a 27-point margin of victory. Every one of those arguments favor Tennessee. So, I said it yesterday, what? You can say it's an argument, but it's not a good argument. I'm 100% with Jared.
Every argument's not in favor of Tennessee. They're not the SEC champion.
2 losses. I don't know why this is so hard for people to understand.
It's not hard.
2 losses.
But again, you don't want
head-to-head loss by 4 freaking touchdowns.
Those are the 2 very good arguments for Tennessee.
Those are the only arguments.
So the best win in college football and an SEC championship and the best wins overall are not arguments.
Not when you have 2 losses and head-to-head by 4 touchdowns. This is not difficult. I don't know why we're making it so hard.
It's not difficult. I agree with you. You decided I'm going to take this information and we're going to not use this information. That's
You're not using the other information, which is the problem.
I said I'd pick Tennessee.
Well, then what are we talking about?
We're talking about something that would be an argument. I mean, I don't understand why this is so difficult for you guys. This would be an argument. If you want to go ask everybody at ESPN, maybe they're wrong.
I don't give a crap what the people at ESPN think.
Okay. Do they have any clue about what the committee thinks or talks about? I think they kind of do.
I think apparently they don't. Jared, I'm with you. You were robbed yesterday.
What do you mean apparently they don't? Because you disagree with them? Oh, okay.
So this is what I call. I've decided last night I'm going to call it Karanon. So this
You already made that joke.
Here's my theory behind why ESPN's pumping this story so much, because there's not going to be really a question when all is said and done about the college football playoff. So what they do, and we all know that LSU's not going to beat Georgia. In fact,
Yes.
LSU's not even going to come close to beating Georgia.
I agree.
So what they're going to do is they're going to get this argument for like 4 weeks. So it'll be something that they get to argue about constantly, and then people will get just as mad as you two are getting right now on their sets and everything else. And then it won't matter anyways when push comes to shove and Tennessee will make the playoff. But I think it's ridiculous. State, I believe, won the Big Ten and beat Ohio State, and I could be wrong about this.
Yes.
But
They didn't get in.
And they had 2 losses, and Ohio State had 1 loss, and Ohio State got in.
Right, correct. That contradicts some of this because they actually beat Ohio State, and Ohio State still got in.
No, that's my point, is that LSU, right, it contradicts the LSU argument, the fake argument. So Tennessee is in the same boat. The only thing the committee has been consistent about over the 8 years they've been doing this is the only thing that matters if you're a Power 5 school is how many losses do you have. And Tennessee will be at the front of the one-loss schools no matter what, because they have the best wins and they have the highest strength of schedule of all of the possible one-loss teams, with maybe the exception of Oregon, and it won't matter because they lost by 32 or 36 points less than Oregon did to Georgia on a neutral field. So Tennessee's making the playoff. And this idea that LSU is going to get in with 2 losses, having lost by 1 million at home to Tennessee, when there's nothing that shows us the committee would ever do that, is ridiculous.
Okay, real quick, because we have takes of yours on the Titans that we have to shame in this. We don't need to go much. But first of all, a couple things on this. It contradicts the argument you guys are making because Penn State beat Ohio State and then didn't get in. So it's not the exact same situation.
But I think that kind of strengthens it because they beat Ohio State head-to-head and still had 2 losses and didn't get in.
But another thing on the 2-loss thing, if you want to play the game of, well, this has never happened, so it could never happen, well, then how is the SEC champion left out? I mean, you could play that game too. I will say this, Jared, I think you're right to some point in terms of, yes, that's what college football is people screaming at each other about this or that, and you didn't play anybody and all. But I had this thought, and as soon as they beat Alabama, I'm like, God, what if they do win out? That would be a fascinating situation. So, I mean, I had that thought before it ever became this thing that they all talked about on the air. Yes, they'll lean in on it. And, yeah, it's not going to happen because if they get to Atlanta, they will get smoked by Georgia. But, yes, it would be an argument. Meanwhile, speaking of arguments, Jared, that wasn't a very good segue. What is your deal with this whole, Tannehill's not tough. McNair would have played. Vrabel. I'm gonna listen to Vrabel at a press conference and then somehow hypothesize that he must be angry with Ryan Tannehill. It's like just totally fabricating stuff that's not real.
What is being fabricated?
What I just said. There is not any indication here that Vrabel has some disappointment or anger with Ryan Tannehill because he didn't play. But you what did you come up with? Tannehill went and talked to him. So it was Tannehill saying, Mike, I don't want to play. I don't want the Chiefs to hit me, Mike. And now Vrabel's mad at him. I mean, you've created a complete fantasy world around this whole situation.
All right, so let's go back to the injury against the Colts. So Tannehill gets hurt against the Colts, and he walks off the field, right?
Correct.
Limps, but he walks.
Correct.
Walks off the field, goes into the blue tent. Who knows what they did in that blue tent? My guess is they made sure his ankle wasn't broken when they went inside that blue tent. Now, they obviously couldn't have an x-ray in there, but I'm sure they checked out the ankle, and it was good enough to tape it up and go back out there and finish the game, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Yesterday, Ryan Tannehill said that he has had no setbacks since that moment against the Colts, which was a very good question asked by Joe.
It was.
And he said that surgery was not on the table. Ryan Tannehill has been cleared by the Titans medical staff since Thursday after the Texan or before the Texan game. And Malik said that he found out he was starting on Saturday afternoon before the Texan game, which means there was a chance he was going to play against the Texans, Tannehill. Then Tannehill tries to practice all last week, as he said yesterday. He's cleared by the medical staff to play. And then he goes out there and he doesn't even really try on Sunday to give it a go. And then he walks up to Vrabel, as the video shows. He walks up to Vrabel. He talks to Vrabel. They go down the tunnel. And then 30 minutes later, they announce he's inactive. He's been cleared by the medical staff. He clearly has a low ankle sprain, not a high ankle sprain. And a low ankle sprain is all about pain tolerance. And Jeffrey Simmons, who hasn't practiced, Tannehill has practiced more than Jeffrey Simmons has over the last 3 weeks. Jeffrey Simmons is playing through the pain of the ankle. Tannehill's not. And so, I mean, I think the way that I look at it is that Mike Vrabel's never going to say anything to Tannehill about, seriously, you can't take the pain and give it a go against Kansas City in a game that may decide home field advantage in an AFC playoff game. But I think he's thinking it. And and there's no way to know what Mike Vrabel thinks or doesn't think.
People are
Mike
saying
Vrabel
who knows?
doesn't tell anybody anything. But when Vrabel was asked after the game, and I think we can all agree that the inner smartass comes out of Mike Vrabel, or the inner, like the real truth serum with Vrabel. If you're going to get Vrabel at his best, it's after a game. Fair?
I think that's fair.
Vrabel, after the game, asked about Tannehill, was like, he was questionable for the game, he didn't play.
This is the worst one. This is the worst take.
I want to talk about the guys that went out there and busted their butts and put it all on the line. I'll talk about any one of them.
We'll play this song. We'll play this out. Jared, that was him pissed at Paul, because he gets pissed at Paul all the time about questions he asked, and he didn't want to talk about anything. He was mad about the loss, and so he lashed out at Paul, which he does all the time. You're going to seriously take that reaction and say, oh, yeah, see, he's actually mad at Ryan. I mean, it's silly. It's silly, Jared. It really is.
Do you think he's mad at Tannehill?
No. And Tannehill is
Well, what makes you say that?
Because it's stupid. I mean, everything you just laid out is amounts to a hill of beans, maybe.
So when can we be mad about a player not toughing it through an injury if we can't be mad about this?
There is not another person I know of who's mad about this, because you're just completely fabricating this whole situation.
What have I made
Ryan
up?
Tannehill, right? Well, you're making up all the things that you think people think and are actually saying when they're talking. That's what you're doing. That's what you're making up. You're making up this toughness thing, and then you're doing this McNair comparison. I mean, come on.
Hey, Robbie, back me up. Steve McNair would have played.
McNair would have played.
Hey, Robbie, would McNair play?
I don't know. He did miss games, Jared. It's not like Steve McNair played in every game.
When he missed games, it was because he had back surgery.
Hey, Jared, do you know
Not because he had a low ankle sprain.
Ryan Tannehill tried to play through a torn ACL and not have surgery on it and just rest it and get back out there. His toughness is not something that's really up for debate. His performance is. His ability to perform in pressure moments, that's on the table. His toughness is not something that should be questioned here, and I don't know why you're so intent on making it a thing, because that's what you're doing. You are making it a thing.
I am making it a thing.
Yes.
You know what could easily squash making anything a thing?
What's that?
If they would just tell the truth.
So you think Tannehill's lying? You think when Tannehill tells us yesterday, it's been very frustrating, the pain. So do you think when he was out there before the game and he could barely move out there, he's like, actually I can move pretty well, but I'm going to pretend I can't move well. Then I'm going to go to Mike and say, Mike, I just don't want to play. I mean, think about the things that you're saying here.
I don't think he's lying.
Okay.
I just don't think like Jeffrey Simmons. I just don't think that I think Vrabel's lying about I made the decision to not play him. I think Tannehill made the decision for Tannehill to not play. But
okay. Well, sure. Well, you think that, then think it. Make it up.
I mean, I can tell you that
he went and talked to him.
I don't think Tannehill's not hurt. I think he's hurt. I think it hurts. But guess what? This is the NFL. You got to play through it. He's cleared by the medical staff. He's the quarterback. It's a game that maybe determines home field in the AFC playoffs, and he can't go.
Yeah.
Just like Steve McNair would have played.
I think sometimes, Jared, you can be cleared and you can't perform. Based on how Tannehill looked, again, unless he's lying and he's out there like...
Do any of us think that he could have performed better even if he was a statue in the pocket? Like, so now he's Drew Bledsoe back there without Drew Bledsoe's arm.
If he can't plant and throw? If he can't throw effectively and plant?
Do that, he's still better than the guy that was playing on
That's
Sunday.
fine, but you also don't want to get him more hurt out there.
Now, a low ankle sprain, this is kind of the big difference between the low ankle and the high ankle. The high ankle can get more hurt. The low ankle is just a pain tolerance.
Well, that's fine, but you could, if you can't move and you get hit, you can hurt other parts of your body too. Like you don't want to get him killed back there.
Can't play football scared.
I understand. Speaking of not playing scared, Jared, we got a losing streak. Got to correct it next week in Jared versus Joe.
Yeah, I mean, if this LSU, crazy take keeps going on, I'm not sure I will ever have a chance to succeed again, but hopefully LSU will show that they're not really all that good of a team, because I'm not convinced they are all that good of a team, and they'll lose another game along the way.
Thank you, Jared. Appreciate you.
See you guys.
All righty. Jared Stillman joins us every Thursday morning at 7 o'clock here on the program.
Hey, did you get my text? Do you have it? This is Jared's new theme music.
Oh, yeah, a little Pink Panther action. Just beautiful stuff here on the program. Thanks to Jared for joining us. We'll take your reaction at 615-737-1025. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
The Sports Talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic and Junie Riddle for Michelle and Junie.
Have they truly been tested yet?
I really want this to be a good game. Michelle and Junie, every Saturday morning at 9. Presented by Superbook Sports and the Nashville Jam Company.
I think Junie and I are going to go hit breakfast/brunch there after the show.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It's back. Family Leisure's Ultimate Game Room Sale is back.
Okay, so what's that mean?
That means huge discounts, up to 50% off on all kinds of game room furniture and accessories.
Like what?
Up to 50% off on slate pool tables from Brunswick and Legacy Billiards. Prices start as low as $14.99 installed, plus the matching bars and game tables. Even poker tables to complete our game room are on sale as well. The guaranteed largest selection and lowest prices in the Mid-South.
Wow, perfect for Christmas.
Family Leisure is also featuring huge savings on massage chairs and home theater seating. Full body massage chairs starting at only $9.99. And the top of the line 40 massage chair is more than half off at $29.99.
What about the theater seating?
Family Leisure guarantees to be half off anyone's home theater seating. 3-piece recliner sets start at only $9.99. Full power recline real leather seats are only $19.99.
That's great. And they have stand-up and desktop arcade games with over 600 games, shuffleboards, foosball, and air hockey tables.
It really is the ultimate game room sale.
The ultimate game room sale going on now at both locations, Franklin and Antioch.
Hey, it's Joe Rexrode inviting you to start NFL Week 10 off right with a no-sweat same-game parlay from FanDuel, which is America's #1 sports book. This doesn't matter if you're new to FanDuel. If you have an account, you're going to get free bets back if your Thursday night same-game parlay doesn't hit. Same-game parlays are the perfect way to combine bets for a chance at a bigger payday. And, I know that the Panthers-Falcons may not get a lot of people excited. It was an incredible game just a couple weeks ago. If I'm looking at this as a same-game parlay, I am looking at Falcons. I think the Falcons complete the sweep here. I'm going to look at DJ Moore with an anytime touchdown. I'm going to go with the under on this. A lot of under in the NFL this year. But you do whatever you want. Build your own or choose from one of the popular same-game parlays pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. However you want to play, bet the NFL Thursday. The No Sweat Same Game Parlay. Sign up with the promo code JOE102 if you don't have an account. If you do, you're all set. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older in present Tennessee. 3+ legs, minimum $1 bet required. Refund issued is now double. Free bets expire 7 days after receipt. Max free bet $5. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 800-889-9789.
At Krebs Kubota, we want to help you deliver a job done right with the parts you need and a service department that provides regular maintenance on all your equipment. From the largest excavator to the smallest 2-cycle engine, Krebs Kubota can get the job done. And ask about pickup and delivery options. Stop by Krebs Kubota, located at 2240 Northwest Broad Street, Murfreesboro, Tennessee, or visit them at KrebsKubota.com.
Genesis Diamond's biggest and last sale of the year is coming. November 18th, 19th, and 20th. It's an extraordinary event with savings of 20, 25, up to 35% store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets, nothing's held back for this once-a-year, 3-day store-wide sale. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and special pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. Luxury pre-owned Rolexes are also included. It's the final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Genesis Diamond, November 18th through 20th only. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Oh goodness, this must be serious.
A new Epix original series from the creator of Peaky Blinders.
The British are losing the war, and I intend to do something about it.
Based on a true story.
The British are preparing to drop troops behind German lines. Let the games begin.
Those events that seem most unreal.
Your eyes, mud.
Are mostly true.
We have a license to behave badly. Let's go and win the war.
Rogue Heroes. Premieres Sunday. Only on Epix. Get the channel or the app.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We may now begin our day. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
You are now entering Jared's Film Room.
Just got a first-hand look at Jared's film room in the last segment. Although I will say, half of that whole thing I agreed with Jared.
Yeah.
The other half I did not agree with.
That's right.
It's a great spot to be
You
in.
and Jared trying to gang up on me. People enjoy the Inspector Clouseau comparison to Jared. Coach Rebel, what are you trying to say?
I dare you to ask him a question like that on Sunday.
What are you saying about Tannehill? Yeah. Terrible French accent.
That's pretty good.
Thank you. It's really dumb. Like someone on the text line said, I mean, Vrabel talks about Tannehill's toughness all the time. Like, this is just like, I mean, I'm sorry, but I think it's just Jared trying to fill time. I do. I think it's just Jared trying to fill time with this whole thing.
Oh man, I will say he went down quite the rabbit hole there of the low ankle sprain and the conversations that may or may not have happened between Vrabel and Tannehill.
I saw the video. He talked to. Look, he went to him. He told him. Okay, well, maybe they have other conversations that aren't on video. Maybe, I don't know. Just a thought. I think there's absolutely nothing to Tannehill's toughness. There's a lot to. First of all, okay. Also, Dr. Jared there says a low ankle sprain you can't make worse. Really? I mean, haven't we all had ankle sprains? So when you have a low ankle sprain, I tore ligaments. It was a bad ankle sprain. If I would have gone out and done stuff on it, I would have made it worse. Well, how is a high ankle sprain is a much worse injury, and you basically are knocked out for a month. But low ankle sprains can get worse. What are we talking about?
Well,
here?
And it is also, I think, important to remember. Like, I understand what Jared's saying. Like, you can't play football scared, but you can play football smart. Like, if your quarterback can't move, and you're already worried about the offensive line anyway, like. Him being a sitting duck back there and just taking shots left and right, probably not a great strategy.
Right. I mean, Vrabel does think long term. So I firmly believe what Vrabel said, and I believe everything Tannehill told us yesterday. I mean, because basically, Jared, without saying it, it's kind of saying Tannehill was at least sort of lying yesterday. And it's just, I mean, it's a waste of time. But hey, I indulged it, so blame me too. I didn't have to bring this back up. Just pretend it doesn't exist.
LD from McMinnville says, hashtag Jared's Film Room featuring Dr. Jared Stillman is a blessing we don't deserve. I will say the Jared's Film Room thing is taking on a life of its own, and I'm here for it. I love it.
Well, just wait till you hear the song I'm working on.
The Rex rap?
This show's about to just take off, man.
It is.
It's really going to reach a new level of excellence.
Let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Adam from Portland. Adam, thanks for calling in.
Hey, guys. So what I learned several years ago when I started talking to Jared is that he is a conspiracy theorist. He thinks everyone in the world is crooked. If he doesn't have like a book of conspiracy theories and maps like drawn out in his room, I would be really surprised. It's just who he is. Like, is he right when Steve McNair played with a low ankle sprain? Yes, but that's the NFL 20 25 years ago, whatever. But it's not necessarily on the players. A lot of these guys get shut down. Maybe some of it is strategic. Like you don't call Tannehill. Maybe you already know Tannehill is not well enough to play. You probably knew that a couple days earlier. But it's strategy. It's not a it's not a conspiracy. It's not like Tannehill's a wuss and can't play. It could be we want them to prepare for two quarterbacks,
right?
So that way we have a better opportunity to win a football game. So, but no, I learned this with Jared a long time ago, man. He thinks everybody is crooked and they're all out either to get him or to trick us all. So he's the voice of the people with that stuff, I guess.
Thanks for the call, Adam.
Jeranon.
I guess so.
We got Jeranon and Karanon.
When Adam goes, yeah, like maps and stuff hanging up, that got me.
It's like Mel Gibson in that movie.
Yeah. Look, I think if you watch Ryan Tannehill play, I think the toughness is pretty clear most of the time. Just my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty clear that he's a pretty tough guy.
I mean, I guess maybe Vrabel's lying about that. Every time he talks about his toughness. And again, real quick, I'm sorry, but the jumping on the Kaharski response is such a misunderstanding. If that's actually what Jared thinks was going on there, it's such a misunderstanding of that situation. He lost a game. He was pissed that he got asked about Tannehill. He was pissed that Paul asked it. Yeah. That's it.
It was. And
I'm here for it. I'm here for all of it.
Yes. It was very entertaining then, just like it is every time that it happens. 615-737-1025. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines. By the way, Josh from Murfreesboro wondering if yours was a French or Russian accent. So I guess if you can't tell the difference, maybe it's not great.
Je parle un peu de français.
We'll take your thoughts on the Titans at 615-737-1025. Coming up next, some good news for the Titans on the injury front. We read off the injury report yesterday. There was a lot there. There was some good news, and we'll discuss what that could mean for the Titans as they move forward the rest of the season. That's coming up next. But first, Michelle Knezovic has a word from Superbook Sports.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Robbie. And listen, we have got everything going on right now between football, basketball. I know Joe's happy basketball is back. Hockey, and soon enough, the World Cup is right around the corner. And there is no better place to wager on all of that than Superbook Sports. When you sign up, deposit, wager all on the same day, Superbook will give you a bonus up to $1,000. When the sports world is busy, it is busy to get winning some money. So download the Superbook Sportsbook app or visit superbook.com to wager and win today. Listen, we got a little Thursday night football action tonight. The Atlanta Falcons and the Carolina Panthers. Listen, Marcus Mariota has been very, very good at covering that spread this year. So give me the Falcons minus the 2.5. And listen, give me, like Robbie said, a Marcus Mariota anytime touchdown. So just download the Superbook Sportsbook app or visit superbook.com to wager and win today. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
This is Mikhail Kralland, and this is Nashville.
The rebound shoveled in by Mikhail Kralland, and the Predators have tied it up on the power play.
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators Radio Network. ESPN 1025, The Game.
As a roofer, I'm always on the go, so I need to be able to get things done from anywhere. That's why I partner with Beacon. With the new Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the brands I depend on, like GAF, right at my fingertips. Searching, ordering, tracking. It's like having my Beacon rep in my pocket 24/7. I rely on Beacon because I never stop building, and neither do they. Go to BECN.com to get started building with Beacon. Beacon, always building.
Ajax Turner Company, Middle Tennessee's Anheuser-Busch distributor, is hiring full-time warehouse order pickers, forklift drivers, merchandisers, delivery, and more. Pay rates have increased, and new hires will now be eligible for a $500 sign-on bonus. This is more than seasonal work. This is a career with year-round stability and promotional opportunities. Go to ajaxturner.com/careers to apply or call 615-280-3904 for further details about open positions. Please remember to drink responsibly.
Welcome to Smashville, home of the biggest hits in hockey and the loudest parties on Broadway. Join us at Bridgestone Arena Saturday, November 12th as your Nashville Predators take on the New York Rangers, and support the Nashville Predators Foundation's annual Second Harvest Food Drive. Purchase your tickets today at NashvillePredators.com/tickets and drop off any non-perishable food donations on your way into the arena. We can't wait to see you Saturday, November 12th at Bridgestone Arena. Visit NashvillePredators.com/tickets. Let's go, Preds!
Don't miss out on Black Friday deals at Electronic Express. Come into our convenient locations for great deals on all of your favorite brands like Samsung, Whirlpool, LG, Polk Audio, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department: computers, appliances, 4K TVs, housewares, furniture, mattresses, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
OrderGreen.com. You know them by now. They're my only choice for high-quality THC and CBD products, and they're delivered right to my doorstep. Hey, folks, Joe Rexrode here. Yes, you heard that right. OrderGreen.com will send cannabis products right to you with discreet same-day shipping. OrderGreen.com has been great for me. Just what I need during this busy time of year. Takes the edge off physically, mentally. Terrific products. And if you use promo code Joe20, you're going to get 20% off your first purchase at OrderGreen.com. Do you have a subscription to OrderGreen.com? It'd be a lot cooler if you did. You won't be able to tell if you're in Colorado or Tennessee. Trust me. That's OrderGreen.com.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game, live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Matthias Ekholm. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We are streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. We are live from the Hillside Medical Game Studio on this Thursday morning. I got a pair of tickets to give away to see the Tennessee Volunteers take on the Colorado Buffaloes at Bridgestone Arena on Sunday, November 13th. That's this upcoming Sunday. Be caller number 3 at 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. Caller number 3 will win a pair of tickets to see the Vols take on the Colorado Buffaloes at Bridgestone Arena coming up on Sunday. 615-737-1025. So, Joe, we read off what was a laundry list of the Titans injury report earlier that felt like nearly every member of the defense was on it. Derrick Henry with a rest day yesterday on the injury report. Ryan Tannehill limited with an ankle. The Titans did get some good news on the injury front yesterday. Treylon Burks was activated in his window to return off of IR. So that doesn't necessarily mean that Treylon Burks is going to be in there coming up on Sunday against Denver, but he has been activated. It's good to see him activated immediately when he's eligible to come off of IR, and hopefully that means he's on the field for the Titans very soon. So the interesting question, especially when you're talking about a rookie wide receiver and a rookie wide receiver who has had some conditioning issues and now you've missed a few weeks, number one, physically, what does he look like out there? But number two, how much mentally did he miss with his time out due to injury? Because, Joe, we've talked about this. It is very clear that the Titans need Treylon Burks to come in and be productive, and I wonder exactly what we're going to see out of him as they move forward, when and if he's able to get back on the field maybe as soon as this Sunday. What are your thoughts on the Treylon Burks news for the Titans?
Well, it's much needed for him to be back, much needed for him to be on the practice field. We're going to see with him and Molden this week if that means, it's a 3-week window. Molden's in week 2, Burks in week 1. They could use them both, especially with all these other guys on this report. And Vrabel could be lying about this too. Maybe Burks hasn't been doing well, and Vrabel's just up there lying left and right. I don't know. Maybe. But no, Vrabel was, in all seriousness, Vrabel really was pretty frank before when he wasn't happy with some of that, right? And so that, now he also has gushed in the past about Caleb Farley and the guys who haven't performed. And Farley and Dylan Radins win the offseason awards, and they're not people that they don't want anywhere near the field. But it's still a good development from the Burks perspective. And now we'll see if he can actually. What's the over under on targets? 2.5. 2.5. I mean, that might be about right.
Maybe.
Well, especially like I think it's quarterback dependent. At some point Ryan Tannehill's back at quarterback and Burks is progressing. You might see a day where he gets 8 targets and 6 catches, but how far away is that? I don't know.
Well, it's a great question, and I think I heard you say this yesterday on Jared versus Joe, and I totally agree. Like, they need Treylon Burks somehow during this time that he's been out to like come back at a spot where he's better than where he went out. If that makes any sense. Like, you have the building process, you're trying to bring him along as he's figuring things out at the NFL level. Obviously, an injury derails that, but is there some way that, with the time that he spent watching film, Vrabel's talked about how hard he's worked since he's been injured. Like, is there a way that he comes back and either picks up where he left off or builds on where he left off? Because right now this Titans offense needs him. Like, he's a chance at a playmaker that they just don't have right now at wide receiver. And you can tell me about Robert Woods all you want. That's fine. They don't have a playmaker at wide receiver right now.
I don't think anybody's telling you all about Robert Woods all they want.
No.
Yeah. And so basically what you're talking about is how valuable have those mental reps been?
Well, you hang around past Tennessee football coaches long enough, they can be pretty valuable.
There's still senior day for the Vols. Some of those guys were butch guys. I mean, it was amazing to think, but it's true. But no, it's look, he's instantly the most explosive guy that they have, easily. And you did see it in the opener. That's the thing is, like, early, it was like, oh, wow, this is actually better than I thought. I mean, Kyle Phillips was kind of the story of the opener because he had so many targets and he had the biggest catch of the game that should have won the game for them.
Yep.
But Burks also had some real nice moments. I mean, there's no doubt he's got a bill. I have no idea if he's going to be anything close to the guy they traded, before they drafted him, but he can definitely be a good player.
Well, we talked about the 2.5 targets. I mean, he's played 4 games this year. 5 targets, 6 targets, 2 targets, 3 targets. He's been over 2.5, 3 of the 4.
Did Kaharski know that stat before he?
I don't know.
Of course, I didn't know that stat before I agreed with him either. So, but again, and that's where it's like. So if Treylon Burks comes back and Willis is at quarterback Sunday, then, I mean, I still think, okay, receiver screen something, get him the ball, throw the fade to him. If you throw the same fades, to him that you threw to Conley and Westbrook-Akine, does he go up and come down with him? That's exactly what he's built to do.
I was about to say, I like his chances better. I do. Just because, number one, and here's the other part of that, Joe. Does he create more separation than those guys can create? That's the problem with the Titans right now at wide receiver. They cannot create separation. And he's the one guy I think they have outside that can do that. I mean, we could talk about, Phillips in the slot. He can get open. I think we saw that. But outside, they need somebody that can create a little bit of distance between them and the defensive back. So, not only can he go up and make contested catches, but can you get open to the point running routes with a guy like him with his explosiveness? Or maybe some of these balls that have been contested aren't quite as contested as you move forward.
Right. And then you get into, you get into timing and, just chemistry with Tannehill and things like that. I mean, the inches matter, I mean, you can even – so I'll take it back to the Vols. I do feel like on that McCoy overthrow against Georgia.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like if he had thrown that – if that had been Hyatt, it's a touchdown. Like you got to adjust to each guy's different thing. When Tannehill's back in there, I mean, and I'm sure he knows this already. I mean, Burks can outrun people more than anybody else, clearly, other than McMath. Like, again, when McMath is back, then he may be the fastest of all of them. But yeah, Burks should be able to get separation. And Burks, after the catch, should also be a force. And there's no – look, turn on the Arkansas film.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. That's where the comparison with A.J. came in, really, with him is the yard after the catch and the just difficulty of tackling the guy. We're making him out to be an all-pro before the segment ends.
Well, but doesn't that highlight where they're at right now? Like, the guy hasn't really done anything at the NFL level yet, and we're sitting here talking about how badly they need him because that's the state of this wide receiving core.
It's like Eddie Murphy, he's like, is that a Ritz? Yeah, that's salt. Is that a Ritz? For anybody who knows what I'm talking about.
I mean, that's where they're at right now with this wide receiving core. So, look, I hope he's, obviously you got to be smart with it. You don't want to rush him back if he's not ready. But, I hope that he's ready on Sunday to play against Denver. They're going to need every weapon they can get, particularly if you don't have Tannehill. Like, how are you going to incorporate him in the game? We've got Tyler on the text line right now saying, Willis has to throw the ball in the middle of the field Sunday. The guy's horrendous at reading defenses, but he has got to try. Personally, I have my doubts, but not ever trying slants or stick routes is not a sustainable type of offense. And I hear that. I agree with it. Like, you've got to have that as part of your offense. But if Willis is in there, do you trust him to be able to make those reads and to be able to recognize what defense is going on in front of him? I mean, that's the question. You don't want – it's better to not have those things in your offense, Joe, than throwing 4 interceptions in a game because you can't read the right defense.
Yeah, but like the stick routes, for example, I mean, usually that's that should be there. So
it should be.
Yeah. I mean, I think some stuff is just out of there, is just taking out of the offense. But also, look, I do think that Willis was better. He was more poised, and he had like terrific touch on a couple of those balls. So,
yep.
I mean, I think it was a lot less deer in the headlights week 2, and it was also more running him. And if it's him Sunday, that to me is the thing you've got to explore if you're Todd Downing. I mean, use that. I mean, that's something that not many teams out there are willing to just send their quarterback as a runner over and over again. The Ravens have been able to do it and still, for the most part, keep Lamar Jackson healthy and have a great all-around offense when it's going well. You can at least have part of that with Malik Willis right now.
Ty on the text line says Willis is 100% doing what he's told. I mean, I don't have any doubt about that. I think there's a specific game plan the Titans have had with him in there that's been pretty obvious. I mean, you're going to run the ball a lot, not throwing a whole lot over the middle. And last week, to their credit, like it wasn't I think a horrible game plan. You've got one-on-one matchups on the outside, and you feel good about throwing those balls. You threw a couple of them pretty well. You got to catch them. I mean, that's what it boiled down to last week.
Yeah, Maddie said Malik threw a slant. To the tech. Oh, you're talking about the pick? Well, that was a post route.
Yeah.
Right. I believe right to Hollister.
Yeah.
And it just late in that game, not pulling the trigger at all because there were some open receivers over the middle of the field. And he could have thrown to him, but then just throwing. If he did, throwing late, errant, all that. And that's the thing. It's not just young quarterback, offense, all these things, reading defense. It's also he just right now his mechanics are such that like every third or fourth, maybe every fifth or sixth pass is just way off the mark.
Yeah.
With the footwork, and that can obviously get you in a ton of trouble. You're not going to throw a lot right now because of that.
By the way, real quickly on the Derrick Henry front, this came from Jim Wyatt yesterday. He said with a rushing touchdown on Sunday, Derrick Henry can become the 5th player in NFL history with at least 10 rushing touchdowns in 5 consecutive seasons. The other, you got LT, Adrian Peterson, Sean Alexander, and Michael Turner from Atlanta.
Michael the Burner Turner.
Yes.
Wow.
One of those things is not like the other.
Yeah.
But Michael Turner on that list from the Atlanta Falcons.
It's another Hall of Fame. There's all these things are kind of adding up, aren't they?
Continuing to add up. Coming up next, it's time for the Rob Rant.
Yeah.
It's an argument that we've had previously, but it was brought to new light yesterday. I'm looking forward to this one coming up next. Make sure you tune in for the NFL pregame show this Sunday live from Sonny's Patio and Pub Refuge, located at 1322 6th Avenue North in Germantown. Join Jared Stoneman and former Titans wide receivers Chris Sanders and Derek Mason from 9:30 to 11:30 prior to the Titans taking on the Denver Broncos. NFL pregame brought to you by TriStar Moving, Parman Tractor and Equipment, Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, Superbook Sports, and Ounce of Hope Cannabis Company. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
2, 3, 4, look. High school football is here. Join Big Joe Dubin every Friday night at 6 for the Ample Collision Center's Game Blitz, presented by National Playmakers Academy.
Just a small sample of these great coaches in our area.
We'll go around the mid-state for scores and reports on all the big games.
If I'm a high school coach, I want the challenge.
The Game Blitz is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. Forecast for us today. Seeing high temperatures in the middle 70s and increasing cloud cover. Rain returns overnight tonight into your Friday, and then temperatures fall into the 50s for the upcoming weekend.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Middle Tennessee, you can count on an award-winning service team for all your home maintenance and improvement needs. Lee Company, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by thousands of homeowners in our community. Our team is ready to assist with all your home maintenance projects, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, appliance service, and more. Experience the convenience of calling one phone number for all your home maintenance needs. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 18th, 19th, and 20th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, Genesis selection is nearly double, with designers flying in their entire collection all on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Luxury pre-owned Rolex is also included. Save up to 35% and get zero interest financing. Genesis Diamonds. November 18th through 20th only, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Blackberry Smoke's Brothers and Sisters Ryman Reunion.
Yeah, I can feel a good one coming on.
Thursday and Friday, February 9th and 10th, Ryman Auditorium.
Are we waiting for the thunder?
Blackberry Smoke.
My pony ride out of this one horse town.
Tickets on sale this Friday at 11 a.m. at Ryman.com. Sponsored by PNC Bank and Access, proud partners of Ryman Auditorium.
Oh goodness, this must be serious.
A new Epix original series from the creator of Peaky Blinders.
The British are losing the war, and I intend to do something about it.
Based on a true story.
The British are preparing to drop troops behind German lines. Let the games begin.
Those events that seem most unreal.
You are all mud.
Are mostly true.
We have a license to behave badly. Let's go and win the war.
Rogue Heroes. Premieres Sunday, only on Epix. Get the channel or the app.
Anticipation is building. The holidays are just around the corner, and at the Home Depot, we can't wait. With Black Friday savings all through November, you can count down to Christmas early with a Santa Countdown Inflatable Special Buy, only $69.98. Or anticipate when friends and family come to visit with an entrance full of LED lights that will welcome them and the holidays with open arms. Get the holiday magic started early. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Open wide. Let me see that smile.
There's a back-to-school braces boom at Doc Kelly's office.
Can you hold on for a sec? Can someone bring me more brackets?
She needs to realign her staffing plan with more registered dental assistants.
Can you reorder the rubber bands in red?
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Informative.
They played a lot of power play time together back in the day.
Insightful.
It's a great addition to this team.
And just three guys being dudes.
On the sideline in shorts and a t-shirt.
Hanging out, watching the game.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2.
No such thing as bad press.
On Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Don't make me angry.
Sometimes you have to tell someone to pound sand.
You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
This is the Rob Rant. Now on Robby and Rexrode.
It is that time of the day, time for the Rob Rant here on Robby and Rexrode with this god-awful song bringing us back in.
Basketball season, baby.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. I'll take your word
Ain't
for
it?
Ain't it? It's a great academic institution, ain't it? But Jimbo wishes it's basketball season.
Oh, man. Wishes he was a basketball coach.
Well, Jimbo will not play a part in the discussion we're about to have about the college football playoff. We've done a lot of yelling about the college football playoff. We're going to take a slight breather on yelling back and forth at each other at Tennessee and LSU to have a different college football playoff conversation. And, Joe, this is one that you and I have had before in terms of the expansion of the college football playoff, going from 4 teams to 12 teams. I think we've kind of laid out our arguments on both sides. You were, I think, fair to say, much more in favor of the expansion to 12 teams college football playoff than I am. And Ari Wasserman, who we're going to have on the show in about 15 minutes, came out with a really interesting piece yesterday at The Athletic, kind of presenting the other side of the argument against a 12-team expansion to the college football playoff and highlighting basically what I've talked about in terms of my favorite part about college football is how important the regular season is and how much each game means in the regular season. And it's I thought a really good piece by Ari. I'm not going to sit here and read the whole thing, but I'll read just a small snippet from it. What were the three biggest results of the past weekend? LSU over Bama, Georgia over Tennessee, Notre Dame over Clemson. All three losers of those games were represented in the top 12 of the College Football Playoff Committee's most recent rankings released Tuesday evening. Tennessee was number 5, Bama was 9, Clemson was 10. No consequences for losing, blah. Oh, in this year's Ohio State-Michigan game, you know, the game that will likely pit two undefeated Big Ten East teams for a chance to win their conference and make the playoff? Well, with an expanded field, the results of that game won't matter for the national title race. Sure, the fan bases will always care because it's a bitter rivalry, but the only consequences of losing that game would be a lower seed and having to hear the opposing fan base talk trash. So there's a really long piece that Ari Wasserman's put together, but the premise of it is expanding the college football to 12 teams is devaluing the regular season. And maybe some of the games that we've already seen so far this year, like the LSU-Alabama game last night, don't quite have the same pop to it if it's a 12-team college football playoff. So I'm kind of just – this is my rant is just bringing this back up. Like, this is kind of what I was talking about with my position on I'm not as big of a fan of expanding to a 12-team playoff as I think most people will be. As Wasserman points out in here, most people seem to be in favor of expanding it to 12, and I understand certainly from – like, if you're a coach, yeah, expand that thing to 12. But as a college football fan, I do think about stuff like this. Like LSU, Alabama, part of that game going the way that it did, and I think part of the joy, if you're an LSU fan, is you just knocked Alabama out of the college football playoff, and we're this thing at 12. That would not have been the case the other night. So I'm not saying they wouldn't have enjoyed the win against Alabama. Like, think about Tennessee-Bama this year. I don't know if it would have made the win any less sweet. So it's Tennessee-Bama. You beat Bama for the first time in 15 years. But I do think there are games along the way, like we're starting to see as you get into this part of the schedule, that don't mean as much. And I think Ohio State-Michigan coming up is a pretty good example of that Wasserman threw out there.
Yeah, and there's a whole bunch of games that will mean something that don't now. And that's the thing, you know. I mean, because look, first of all, I've changed on this because and actually that Michigan-Ohio State, that was one of my big arguments early in the 14 when people were already like, got to go to 8, got to go to 16. I'm like, 2016, Michigan, Ohio State, and it's basically an elimination game. So, I think Ari wrote a good column, and I think there's good points, and it's a good discussion. But, meanwhile, our colleague Sam Kahn immediately wrote a column rebutting his column, which is also really good. Yeah. And they both make really good points. But I mean, the fact is, like right now, what have we said about the ACC? I've already said, yep, ACC. Say yep, you're out. So like, let's just not even pay attention to ACC games anymore. They don't matter. Many years we've done that with the Pac-12, right? Pac-12, no, you don't matter at all. Thanks for playing. Bye. And I think the problem for me is just the playoff has become so the entire focal point that already has damaged what college football has been, which is, again, the regular season. I mean, the Alabama-Tennessee game, like you said, I don't care what. That was a moment that Tennessee fans will never forget. It didn't – I mean, at that point, it didn't eliminate Alabama from the playoffs.
That's the difference there.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, I was like, okay, Alabama will still be there. You know, now the LSU – and I agree with Ari, like, when you have that consequence and now all the fans who hate Alabama can say, yes, you are out. I mean, that is – and instead, with the 12 team, it's like – you're going to have to go
on the road,
play at USC in the playoff. But here's the thing. That game sounds awesome to me, you know? I mean, and that's another thing about this is, like, I understand. So Ari's point is, like, the whole point of this is to find a champion. You're not going to like, find the champion going deeper. He may be right about that. But, again, the NCAA tournament, which is 68 teams, and this is a point Sam Kahn made, do we still talk about George Mason getting to the Final Four? Yes, we do, in 2007. And they were never going to win it all. I mean, I guess George Mason would say we only had 2 more wins to win it all. We just beat UConn. But the point being, there can still be incredible stories and games that don't have to do with the actual winner of the tournament, which usually is a very small group of teams every year in hoops that is actually that are actually capable of winning it, right?
Right.
So I think it's a good discussion. There's pluses and minuses. There are a lot of games that will mean more now, and there are definitely some of those games that I already mentioned that will mean less, which stinks.
Yeah, I mean that's my thing is like the regular season I think is what separates college football from basically every other sport. Now, you can have the position, and some people have this position of the regular season in college football is a little too important. Like it matters a little too much. Like if you're let's take it to the LSU discussion. Like you lost to Florida State and you lost to Tennessee. So you lost to a Tennessee team that was undefeated at the time. They came in, they hammered you at your house, and you have 2 losses there. Well, if it's a 12-team playoff, we're not having this discussion. Like LSU is clearly in the college football playoff if they finish this job off.
Although it's okay, but real quick, now let's say they went out and then they get thumped by Georgia. See, that's where it's like
I think they'd still be in.
They might be. Yeah, they might be. So let's see. Right now, because we always do this every week, we do the what the field would be. So right now you'd have USC at Bama. Or no. I think that would be Bama at USC, right? You'd have Tulane at Michigan. Okay. You'd have Clemson at LSU. Yeah, okay. And you'd have Ole Miss at Tennessee. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And then you'd have a top 4 of Georgia, Oregon, TCU, Ohio State. But LSU is a 7 right now. Yeah, they'd probably get in. They'd probably still get in, getting thumped by Georgia.
With Georgia, yeah, they'd get in. So I mean, it's a lot of it depends on the way you look at it. Like there are people that tell me that part of the part I love about college football is the regular season and how important it is, and there are people that feel the exact opposite. Like the part I hate about college football is you lose one game, and depending on who you are, you're done.
Yeah, and that's where it's access points, and that's what Sam makes. It's like 43% of the NFL gets in the playoffs now or whatever, and these sports. And for college football, it's still like a tiny fraction of percentage that gets in. You know, I think Ari's side and your side is easier to argue now because this year we have Tennessee, we have some different names. I think one of the big arguments to expand is that I'm sick of seeing Georgia and Clemson and Bama and Ohio State year after year, and hopefully what this does is actually distributes the power a little bit and gives us a little bit more parity. That's what I hope. I don't know that it will, but that's my hope.
615-737-1025. This has been the Rob Rant. You can check it out every morning at 7:45 here on the program. Coming up next, we'll be joined by Ari Wasserman from The Athletic. We'll continue this conversation on college football playoff expansion and what it means for the sport as they continue to move forward here. That's coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
You watch the game. We talk the game. The college football playoff rankings. Tennessee, the #1 team in the country. We are the game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
2 icons, one night. Billy Joel, Stevie Nicks. Friday, May 19th, Nissan Stadium. Tickets on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Together in Nashville for the first time ever. Don't miss Billy Joel and Stevie Nicks.
This segment of ESPN 102.5 The Game is brought to you by Train Heating and Cooling Systems. Tested, retested, engineered, and re-engineered to keep up with you. We run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent Train dealer. Traininfo.com. It's hard to stop a train.
Why wait to save? Dell Technologies Black Friday event arrives early with select deals on top tech to power business productivity. The savings start now with up to 48% off performance business PCs powered by 12th Gen Intel Core processors. Don't forget special pricing on the latest monitors, docks, and accessories, including free shipping on everything. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL for Black Friday deals. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
And now a small business setback. Set to smooth jazz.
It's late. You're driving in the rain with only one thing on your mind.
The deer are about to total your HVAC van. But with Progressive's 30-plus customizable coverage options, you're covered. The rest is just saxophone.
When running your small business gets rough, Progressive Commercial is there to smooth it out. Get a quote in as little as 6 minutes at progressivecommercial.com.
Twinkly sound.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Coverage and discounts not available for all vehicles or states. Policy terms and conditions apply.
Making Moves is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs.
In winning teams, every player brings their unique strength and has an impact on the results. The Dallas Mavericks drafted Jason Kidd with the second pick in the 1995 draft. But after 2.5 seasons, they traded him to Phoenix, and he then played for the Nets. It was not until he was 34 when he became a Maverick once again. He was exactly what they needed and became an integral part of a team that went on to win the 2011 NBA Finals over the Miami Heat.
Build your winning team today. Go to linkedin.com/sports.
If your team needed a point guard, you wouldn't waste your time interviewing centers and forwards, right? Well, the same is true for your business. LinkedIn Jobs taps into a network of over 850 million professionals to find the right people for your role. LinkedIn Jobs helps you narrow down to the most qualified candidates so you can start hiring the right people. Go to linkedin.com/sports to post your job for free. That's linkedin.com/sports. Terms and conditions apply.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUZ HD2 Laverne, Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
Terang, it's a high fly ball.
We got pass rushers.
Awesome game set.
Checker flag in the air. The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive. This is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it's showtime. Hour number 3, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode. Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Thursday morning in Nashville, Tennessee, talking college football. And to help us do that, we go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Ari Wasserman, who does a great job from The Athletic. Ari, good morning. How are we doing?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
We are great. Appreciate you taking time to be with us. So, Ari, you wrote a really interesting column yesterday on The Athletic, and it's actually something that Joe and I have been going back and forth about for a few months. The idea of expanding the college football playoff to 12, and is it really a good thing for college football in terms of the regular season and everything that goes into that? Just kind of explain to our listeners what the premise of your piece was and maybe some of the disadvantages of expanding to 12 teams in the college football playoff.
Listen, I think that the majority of the country views the expansion of the playoff as a more exciting thing for the sport because more teams will have access to the postseason in a meaningful way. And I know that that's true. And I know that when we get these tournaments, the 12-team tournament, we'll get some really interesting, fun games that will determine whether or not, teams like, I don't know, if Vanderbilt has a great year, gets in, and it allows more fans to be more invested in the national championship race. But the one thing that is concerning to me, and it kind of dawned on me, especially after this weekend, was what were the 3 biggest results of the weekend? Georgia over Tennessee, Notre Dame over Clemson, and Alabama losing to LSU. And all 3 of the teams that lost those games are represented in the latest rankings of the top 12 from the playoff committee. So what's happening is that we're kind of delaying the playoff and removing it from the regular season and pushing it down the line for the sake of inclusion. And that's a pretty large price to pay because the playoff was already expanded. It just happens on regular season Saturdays now, whereas in the future, you're going to remove meaningful regular season games from the teams that were built to win the championship and ruin the art of the upset. Because in the sport of college football, in my opinion, watching other teams lose and watching upsets that can ruin a season is one of the most compelling things about the sport. And now what you're doing is creating an environment where the teams that you're sick of seeing, win the national title every year, the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Ohio States, can lose 3 games in a year and still make the playoff and get hot at the end to win the national championship still. So as much as we think that we're helping the little guy, the group of 5 team or or the team that goes 9-3 or 10-2 unexpectedly, like a Syracuse or a Wake Forest last year. All you're doing is opening the door wider for the teams that are actually built to win the national championship to not play meaningful regular season games, which removes the art of the upset and makes it the regular season a more watered down product. And if you say, well, teams like TCU have a better chance of getting in and don't have to be perfect in years like this, that's true. But like, the playoff game is happening this weekend in Austin. TCU is playing a playoff game this week. And in the future, that won't necessarily be the case. So I do think that while there is an exciting new future in a game that's expanding dramatically and evolving dramatically, you have to also acknowledge the price that we're paying to get this, which is a less meaningful and less entertaining to a certain extent regular season in a sport where the regular season has always been the lead of the charge.
So who's been dragging you the most here from this comm? Staples, Ubben, who?
Oh, man. Here's the thing. I'm not the smartest guy in the world. I'm not going to go invent some creation that's going to get me paid $100 million. But what I do know is the second I hit send into the editor's inbox, I knew what was going to be happening yesterday. So it's not like I was naive to that. And everybody's just like, yeah, more teams, more access. And it's like, I just don't understand why we have to cater to mediocre teams. I think that it's more fun to demand teams to be great. James Franklin's teams, I used in the column, go 9-3 every year. It drives their fan base crazy. And instead of demanding that Penn State win the conference, beat Ohio State, and go undefeated or only lose one game, we're changing the bar for excellence and saying, you know what, you're good enough. And it's just like, that's not the way that the world works. You don't get paid in the top tax bracket unless you produce. And now we're paying people that aren't producing. It's just there is something to it. And I feel like there's a lot of forgettable teams that are just going to be celebrated when they aren't really all that good. And 12 is a lot of teams, especially considering the fact that we can't even find 4 elite-level teams in a given year most years. Now you're going to start adding in, 3-loss, 4-loss teams that would be, 31-point underdogs to the actual national champion. And it's like, what? So what? They can hang a banner because we're letting them in and not because they actually achieved something? Like, isn't there something to be said about, raising the bar and improving your program to be a part of that? Like last year when Michigan made the playoff, they weren't achieving anything under Jim Harbaugh. He was on the hot seat. He took a pay cut going into last year. And what do? They went to work. They shut their mouths. And they beat Ohio State, won the Big Ten, and got into the playoff. Isn't that an achievement that program can cherish for the rest of their existence, rather than saying, well, we actually got into the playoff 5 times, but it was as a 9, 10, and 11 seeds? It seems like we're just like handing out medals and banners to everybody just because they're participating. And that's not what I think makes the sport great. I think being excellent and being perfect in the old days and being close to perfect now is what makes it compelling television.
But if Michigan in a 12-team field did the exact same thing and finally beat Ohio State and finally won the Big Ten, they would have celebrated the exact same, no?
Yeah, I guess so. If they were like a 4 seed, but it wouldn't. If it's not as exclusive, then it's not the same thing. And how many years? Like if Michigan would have made the playoff in a 12-team field 4 years in a row, and then finally beat Ohio State and got into the top 4.
But they wouldn't have though. They weren't even that level, right?
Michigan
for the most part. I said 18. In 18 they would have. In 18 they would have. In 16, yeah.
They were 10-2, like 3 out of the first 4 years, I think. So like the actual breakthrough of their season and winning the Ohio State game and winning the Big Ten, which is the thing that they hadn't done in the Jim Harbaugh era, came with an exclusive prize. We put them in a position where they had to achieve excellence. They achieved excellence, and they were rewarded for it. Now we're going to be putting in a bunch of teams that couldn't even – it's almost a safety issue to put them on the same field as a Georgia. You guys are in Tennessee. You saw what happened. Tennessee is one of the top 5 teams in the country this year. You see what happened? They were out-athleted in every single term for 4 quarters of football, and they weren't competitive.
Which is what happened to Michigan against Georgia last year, too, by the way.
Yeah, no, I know, which is what happens to the 4 seed, and that's the reason why you're going to want to add the 12th team in when that's what happens to the 4th team.
Ari Wasserman from The Athletic with us here on Robby and Rexrode. All right, I think it's a really interesting point you bring up that I guess I hadn't really thought about before, because it's everybody talks about the access point, right? It's to bring other teams in. I think, like, to your point, part of what made this weekend pretty cool for, I think, the college football watching part of the country was, like, Alabama's essentially out right now. Like, they're out of the playoff race. And
yeah, unless LSU loses 2 times in the next 3 games, they're done.
Right, exactly. So the point you bring up of creating more margin for error for teams like Bama and Georgia is something that I guess I haven't really thought about before.
The first team that wins the national championship as an 8 seed in the 12-team playoff will be an Ohio State, Clemson, or Alabama who lollygagged all year, figured it out at the end, and runs the table. It's not going to be Tulane. It's not going to be Pitt. It's not going to be Syracuse. Those teams cannot win. And, like, I know it's really painful right now for Tennessee fans to deal with what occurred, on Saturday. And the first thought process to them was, well, could we still get in the playoff? But it's just like the fact of the matter is that you don't close the gap on Georgia in a year. I don't care how good Josh Heupel is. I don't care how good Hendon Hooker is. They don't have the athletes on the team to win a national championship this year. And their consequences for losing were completely insignificant even in this year. So now imagine what would happen in a 12-team playoff for Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State. Those teams won't play a meaningful regular season game for the rest of eternity. You know what it would take for Ohio State to lose 4 times in a regular season in this current makeup of college football? So all you're doing is stripping the Ohio State fan base and the Georgia fan base and the Alabama fan base from any meaningful regular season games, which does what to the interest? We're all going to watch the games because it's college football. We're all going to consume it no matter what. But the compelling feeling that we all had of if LSU makes this 2-point conversion, Alabama's season's over, is removed from the sport because their season isn't over. And guess what? This Alabama team that has 2 losses that's out of the playoff probably actually is one of the top 5 teams in the country and probably could win a national championship, far more than the teams that we're going to let in at 11, 12, and 9. But they don't deserve to. I covered the 15 Ohio State team that lost a game to Michigan State at home and didn't make the playoff that year. If you put that team in a 12-team playoff, they win the national championship. So all we're doing is rewarding a team that lollygagged all year.
Well,
instead of demanding excellence out of them.
I demand good games in the playoff, and guess what? I would love to watch this Alabama team go to USC, which is what we would have right now if it was a 12-teamer, and see if they could make that run.
Yeah, there would be a 23-point spread.
Maybe, but if they're good enough,
you go watch them beat the crap out of USC in a year where they didn't play well.
Well, I mean, look, we're going to have.
So
do you like the basketball tournament, Ari, or no? Do you like the basketball tournament or no?
I love the basketball tournament, but it's a different sport.
Yeah, it is, but there's still.
You had a team last year that had a complete program budget that was 1/10 of the head coach's salary that they beat. Like, that can't happen in football. It's entertaining, but you know what else I'll say about basketball too is I haven't watched a regular season college basketball game since I was forced to cover it in 2014.
Right.
So it's not. There's no season there. It's like everybody enjoys the event, but nobody watches the games in January that determines seeding because no one cares. Anybody at any seed can win 4 games in a row because a 3-point shooter got hot and make it to the Final Four. In football, there's a physical element to it that can't be overcome because you got hot. I don't care how many times, Pitt or how much like Oregon improved. They are not equipped this year to beat Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio State in 3 consecutive games. They cannot do it physically.
Yeah,
so
I agree with that.
The basketball tournament is super entertaining, but the reason why it's entertaining is because a team that has ironed on jerseys and came to the game on a school bus can beat the number 1 team in the country at the right time if things get hot and shooters get hot because there's a lack of physical element, which makes the intrigue of the upset in the tournament more fascinating.
Yeah,
I just think that the college football system, like, you want to see the Alabama USC game, and of course I do too. Those are the good things. But you have to acknowledge the fact that every single Alabama season or game that they play between September and December is no longer going to matter, which is a take. That's what you're paying for that.
Yeah,
for that one game. It's obviously going to result in a blowout anyway.
I know that you've got a tape here with Staples real quick, but here's the thing. I'm a lot older than you guys. Almost my entire life, the regular season was great. It had nothing to do with any tournament, any playoff, or anything. It was because teams were rivals and wanted conference championships. So, listen. First of all, we've turned the playoff into the entire focal point, and so then we've turned it into, well, basically, here's the 4 teams, 5, 6 that are going to be in it every year, and we all got – this is why I changed my mind on this. But let me ask you this last thing, Ari. Do you believe, and this is my hope, and I don't know, and you are our recruiting expert at The Athletic, do you think that there's any chance that this will spread things out a little bit and we can have a little bit more parity and not have the same 4 or 5 programs who are going to win it every year?
Well, what will be good for parity will be when you hire big-time coaches at big-time programs that can recruit well. If you think just making the playoff as an 11 seed and getting your head bashed in is going to be the reason why you sign a top 5 class, you're mistaken, because the only thing that kids care about is making it to the NFL. And it's like you go look at the Washington recruiting classes after they made the playoff the 1 year, or Michigan's recruiting class this year after making it last year. It's the worst class they put together in 4 years. There's no correlation that's been shown in the data in the playoff era that a team that makes it unexpectedly all of a sudden turns into a recruiting juggernaut. So people think that, like, okay, well, my Penn State team is actually going to make the playoff at 9-3 and may be the 11th seed, and then the following year we're going to be able to get guys from Alabama. And it's like, no, that's not how it works. The way that we're going to get parity is if 66 of the top 100 players in the country don't go to the same 5 schools, and I don't understand why people think that playing in a 12-team playoff is going to make those 5 less schools less attractive. What makes them less attractive is putting Lincoln Riley at USC and Mario Cristobal at Miami and Dan Lanning at Oregon, and putting guys in that recruit like it's their lifeblood at these major programs, and actually convincing these kids to go to the schools for the merits of their recruiting, not because they accidentally made the playoff 1 year because we lowered the standard.
All right, it's a great discussion. Really appreciate you taking time to join us, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, I hope I wasn't too passionate about it. But
no, we love it. Bring the passion.
I'm the only person that is holding the banner for the Freaks.
I'm 100% with you.
Acknowledge that. All right, guys. Well, we're all going to enjoy it, though. That's the thing.
Don't take any crap from Staples now.
That's right.
Well, yeah, I'm going to need a flak jacket for that one.
Ari Wasserman, our guest here from The Athletic, does an outstanding job covering college football. We'll continue to take your thoughts. 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. More on this discussion next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Your home for the MTSU Blue Raiders is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Every touchdown.
Yes, touchdown.
Every 3.
Ball, yes, sir.
It all lives here.
Middle Tennessee.
You can also hear the Blue Raiders in the Borough on 97.5. Middle Tennessee Athletics on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Jared from my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Football season is underway, so now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get a no-sweat bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win if you sign up with the promo code JGM. FanDuel has all of your favorite bets, from the money line to point spreads to player props, and you can combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with the same game parlay. Get paid and get your winnings fast. All in an app that's safe, secure, and easy to use.
Going with the Titans this week because I think the Broncos absolutely stink.
So sign up today with the promo code JGM for your no-sweat first bet. That's promo code JGM. And make every moment more this season with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the National Football League. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only, and your refund is issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions do apply. Please see terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Please call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
As a roofer, I don't have time to fail. Homeowners rely on me, so I rely on Beacon. Beacon's unique network of branches work together to get me what I need when I need it. Every branch working together. And with the new Beacon Pro Plus app, I've got the latest power tool in roofing. Searching, ordering, tracking. Plus the brands I depend on, like GAF, right at my fingertips. Go to BECN.com to get started building with Beacon. Beacon, always building.
The final matchup of the Tennessee basketball team's 3-game series with Colorado is coming to Nashville. Don't miss the Tennessee Volunteers versus the Colorado Buffaloes at Bridgestone Arena Sunday, November 13th. Be there to witness your Volunteers in action as they look to run their all-time record against Colorado to 5-0. Sunday, November 13th, Bridgestone Arena. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Presented by Red Cap.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game and a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Twin Peaks Man Cards are the perfect gifts for the sports fans on your list. Swing by Twin Peaks to purchase your gift cards today and get a little something in return. Offer available at participating restaurants.
Hey, it's Eddie George. You know we all have crazy busy lives and don't take time to research car insurance, right? Well, you don't have to. Xander Insurance does all the work for you. Their system shops over 15 top companies to find you the best rates, and they keep shopping every year. Their clients have saved an average of $600. That's why I'm a client. Xander gives me more options. More options means more savings. Get free quotes at XanderInsurance.com or call 800-356-1780.
Genesis Diamond's biggest and last sale of the year is coming. November 18th, 19th, and 20th. It's an extraordinary event with savings of 20, 25, up to 35% store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets. Nothing's held back for this once-a-year, 3-day store-wide sale. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and special pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. Luxury pre-owned Rolexes are also included. It's the final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Genesis Diamond, November 18th through 20th only. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Well, you've got the whole world listening. What do you got to say?
Never miss a moment of the show. Subscribe to the Robby and Rexrode podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. We may now begin our day. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Make sure you tune in later this morning at 8:45 for your chance to participate in Preds Pick to Click and win a pair of tickets to a future Preds home game. Pick to Click brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they're referred to so often. And Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Thanks to Ari Wasserman for joining us here on the program. Got to tell you, Joe, I'm 100% Team Ari and 50% Team Jared today so far on the show.
Yeah, well, the second part of that is the troubling part. So because you feel like you've kind of plus and minus on this. You're anti 12 team.
I'm anti 12 team.
Yeah.
I understand like the access point argument, and I do agree with you from a certain standpoint. Like there will be matchups that happen on occasion that are very good that you want to pay attention to. I also agree with pretty much everything he just said in terms of actually winning the national championship. If you're like one of these teams that gets in at an 11 seed, is not going to happen. And most of it to me just goes back to the regular season. Like that's why I love college football, is because the regular season means a lot, and you got to be almost perfect to be rewarded.
So you and Ari are elitists, is what we're coming up with. No,
correct.
Good points, but let me go back to what I wrote early this season when I had no reason to think this Tennessee team would be in any kind of playoff discussion. But I went, moving forward, what does the 12-team playoff system mean for Tennessee? I think it's really good for Tennessee, and I continue to think so. I'm not saying that Josh Heupel can't have the Vols where they are right now. Again, I think he can, but like next year, you're probably going to have to take a little bit of a step back, I would think, with Hooker and those receivers. And so they could next year they're not going to be in a 12-team playoff. So, but I'm saying down the road when you have a team like that, I mean, the regular season importance thing, like I do buy that team's not going to win it, so who cares? More than I buy the regular. You're just changing which regular season games mean, and you're actually adding to it. I mean, my example was your favorite guy Butch's, Vols team that screwed up, but still had a chance, and there were games that last weekend, which they lost to Vanderbilt, Louisville game, Florida, Auburn, Nebraska, Houston, Boise State, Utah, Texas A&M, Washington State. All those teams had games, and actually all of those teams that I just mentioned lost, making it actually possible that they could have been in a 12-team field. Now, I know you're probably going to sit here and say, yeah, well, great, but that team stunk, and they shouldn't have been in a playoff. But the point being, a team like that's flawed, that that still has – I mean, look, that team still had Derek Barnett and Alvin Kamara and some really good players. it's still playing for something huge, playing for the ultimate stage.
Well, it's fine, but that makes the loss to Texas A&M and the loss to Alabama and the loss to South Carolina mean nowhere near as much as it did that year. Like, it takes away from those games if it adds to the final game.
But it means it makes the loss to Vanderbilt in a rivalry game the absolute killer, whereas then at the point it's just like, oh, God, that's embarrassing.
Right? But you're taking away from 3 other games to then add 1.
Well, they still all add together, though.
I understand that, but that's my point. You can't tell me that that's not taken away from the regular season when 2 or 3 of those other games aren't as big of a consequence for losing it. Like, that absolutely matters.
Now we're getting into a circular argument. I mean, you're actually making those games all count toward your demise. And again, the last game that didn't at all becomes this. Oh my God, again, like the Schadenfreude, like with LSU beating Alabama. Now back then everybody, Derek Mason, you knocked Tennessee out of the playoff. Oh my God, it's the same concept. It's just at a different point of the season. And there's all those other games I just mentioned actually factor in and matter to the playoff.
Yeah, but they don't matter as much. It's the exclusivity of it is part of the mattering.
The elitism.
Yes, okay. I mean that's what college football is.
But see, I don't buy the Ari thing because that's the thing. This Bama team, man. I mean, you see it in hoops too. It's like, oh God, you're supposed to be great, and now you're only a 6 seed. Like Kentucky that year when they beat who'd they beat? The Wichita State, right? Yep. So this Bama team, I'm all in. I don't care that okay, great. So they lost this incredible game at Tennessee. They lost this incredible game at LSU. Are they good enough to win it all? I think if they put everything together, they would be. I'd love to see them in the playoff. Yes. Like Ari's like, you didn't earn it. Get out of here. No, I disagree. That's where the expansion, to me, makes it better because now you actually still have a chance at redemption. And if you're good enough, you're good enough.
Well, then win the games. Okay. I mean, that's what I'm talking about.
Well, when they get in the playoff, they'll have a chance to.
But there has to be a consequence for losing. That's what college football is. It's what it's always been. And now we're acting like it's not the case? It's absurd. They've lost 2 games, Alabama. So if you're good enough to win the national championship, then don't lose the 2 games. Okay. That's what it is.
So why do you watch the Super Bowl? Like, why do you like the NFL playoffs? Those teams lose 6, 7 games.
I don't want college football to be the NFL.
It's not going to be the NFL. It's just this number makes more sense.
It does not make more sense.
It absolutely does.
Absolutely,
and that's why we're going to that.
Let's very quickly
win.
To our 102.5
Yay, we win.
Line. We don't. We lose. And Joe has continually awful takes this week. Kathleen on the text line, or on the phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Kathleen, welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you, guys. Thank you. I don't want to say this to embarrass my nephew, but I'm Nicholas Frazier's aunt.
Okay.
And I'm so proud of him, what he's accomplished. I hope I don't embarrass him, but he's so sweet and everything. But, yes, I'm a big Tennessee Volunteer fan. And I'm a little upset because, I know LSU beat Alabama, and I'm so happy for them. But, we went there and we killed LSU. So the committee really needs to look at the games.
Hey, thanks for the call. Thanks for the call, Kathleen.
And we love Nick.
We do love Nick.
Yeah. No, I know he's awesome, but what I'm trying to say is the committee, they need to look at the strength of schedule.
Absolutely.
Your strength of Georgia only played Oregon, and they were ranked at the time, but after that, Georgia did not play anybody ranked. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Kathleen. Yeah, I mean, look, first off, the Georgia thing's a little bit different because they're going to go undefeated probably, but strength of schedule, it's going to matter to the committee. It's part of the formula.
Yeah, and look, I mean, the committee, I don't know what the committee would do. The committee's not going to have that scenario, I don't think, because Georgia's going to thump LSU. But, man, I'm here for it. I'm here for the discussion.
I'm not.
It's a good one.
We'll have Preds assistant coach Todd Richards coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. We'll be back.
After a tough tough loss to Kansas City, the Titans look to regroup against the Broncos. Will they have Tannehill available?
Getting better day by day, seeing the progress now.
Or will it be Willis once again under center?
Malik Willis was not effective.
Is he a starting quarterback in this league? I don't know.
Join Jared Stillman, Chris Sanders, Sonny's in Germantown for NFL pregame, 9:30 Sunday on Nashville's best Titans talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Half of me wants a cool.
Hey Nashville, Thomas Rhett here. My Home Team Tour 23 is on sale Friday, November the 11th.
Thomas Rhett, Home Team Tour 23 with special guests Cole Swindell and Nate Smith. Friday, September 29th, Bridgestone Arena. Pre-sale for City Card members now through Thursday at 10 p.m. before the general public on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at LiveNation.com.
Get your tickets at LiveNation.com and come party with us.
Hey football fans, Dak Prescott here, and I'm here to tell you that with NFL Sunday Ticket only on DirecTV, you can watch your favorite team no matter where you live. Because NFL Sunday Ticket gives you every live out-of-market game every Sunday afternoon. So switch to DirecTV and learn how to get the 2022 NFL Sunday Ticket season included at no extra cost. Call 1-800-DIRECTV.
With choice package and above, 24-month agreement required. Call for details.
Middle Tennessee football is back in action at home on Saturday, November 12th. The Blue Raiders will take on Charlotte in our 40th annual Salute to Veterans and Armed Forces football game. Kickoff is set for 2:30 p.m. inside Floyd Stadium. Come early and join in on the festivities honoring our veterans. To purchase tickets or for more information, visit goblueraiders.com/tickets. Middle Tennessee, we are Blue Knighted.
Hi, Sarah. I'm sorry I'm late. The traffic is crazy.
Yeah, it is. And it doesn't help that gas prices have skyrocketed. I can't believe how much it costs for gas now.
Everyone's talking about how much gas is, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Upside app, and I get cash back for every gallon of gas I buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid real cash when you buy gas with the Upside app?
Yeah, real cash every time I buy gas.
What? That sounds like it could really add up.
I've made around $200 already.
Wow, that's serious extra money. I'm downloading the free Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code TANK10 for an extra 25 cents per gallon cash back in your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, to PayPal, or an e-gift card. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code TANK10 for a 25 cents per gallon bonus in your first tank. That's code TANK10 for 25 cents per gallon cash back in your first fill-up. Cashback's not available in gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Lions, Tigers, and tailgates. Oh my. The college football season is always a great time of year. Besides the jerseys, the face paint, and the foam fingers, there's the food. And nothing gets you more fired up for game day than Eckrich smoked sausage. They're naturally hardwood smoked and have the perfect blend of spices. From buffalo sausage dip to sausage chili mac and cheese, Eckrich smoked sausage is a quick way to bring flavor to all your tailgate meals. Visit Eckrich.com for easy, one-of-a-kind sausage recipes. Eckrich, you do you.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Ryan Johansson. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Thursday morning. The Nashville Predators in action tonight, taking on the Colorado Avalanche. And to help us talk more about that, we go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Predators assistant coach Todd Richards. Todd, good morning. How we doing?
Good morning, guys. I'm great. I'm great. Getting ready for a big game tonight.
Thanks for taking time to be with us this morning. So obviously, Todd, you get a big win in Calgary, big comeback win in Vancouver, and the results don't go your way the other night in Seattle. As you get prepared to take on Colorado tonight, what's your gauge of just kind of where the team is mentally heading into this game and just where their game is right now as a whole?
You know what? we didn't get the result we wanted versus Seattle the other night. But you go through and you watch the game, and there are games as a coach you go through and you aren't as good some nights that you thought you were, and you aren't as bad as what you thought you were on some nights. And I think it was and not that I thought we were bad, but even going back through and watching the game, we did a lot of really good things in the game. The problem was we gave up, some really good opportunities that really the goaltender, Juice had no chance of saving. And those are the things that you have to eliminate. You can do so many good things through the game, which we did, but you dig yourself a 3-0, 4-0 hole, and in this league, those are really tough holes to get out of. We were fortunate to do it in Vancouver, but you can't keep setting yourself up that way in this league. Mentally, I think we're good. Just getting into that game, we'll see once the guys get here. We had a day off yesterday. We traveled, got in late. There was a lot of just guys getting up and just, taking care of the bumps and the bruises. And we'll come in this morning, have a nice morning skate and go through some video and try to get them ready for a big game tonight. But I think mentally we're there because you go through and you watch the games. And, everyone's disappointed the way that the season's gone thus far as wins and losses. But I think the guys' approach last game was the right approach. We just didn't get the results we wanted.
So, Todd, when a first shot goes in as it went in the other night, does that impact I guess, does that impact a team? And I guess I'm asking that because, like you said, there was some D-zone mistakes that then, Saros had no chance with later. Does something like that, can that have an impact? And then also, as a coaching staff, how do you work on the things everybody can see? Like, you can't make that mistake. I mean, execution happens. It's a bang-bang game. But how do you work on that or talk about that?
Yeah, it's interesting. That's a good question. When that puck went in it was basically a minute into the game, first shot. I was interested. I kind of watched the bench as soon as it went in, and I'll tell you what, the first goal that went in, the bench was really good. Even the third goal that went in, the bench was great. And you go back through and you watch the game. The score was 4-0 at the end of one, and we come out in the second period, and our energy was really good throughout the game. We just, there's a couple plays where their goaltender made a save, a couple bad bounces that if it bounces one way, we probably get a really good look. I'm not saying it goes in, but we might get a look. There's a couple plays that we just missed executing on. So it's a good question because sometimes you're worried about just the mentality of it and being behind again and what that does to the group. But I don't think it affected our group at all that game. And in fact, I think it got guys a little bit more focused as well, at least energy-wise.
Prez assistant coach Todd Richards on with us here on Robby and Rexrode. So, Todd, obviously, even heading into this year, you're familiar with a guy like Ryan McDonough and just the different roles that he's played, captain in New York, two-time Stanley Cup champion. What are your impressions of exactly where he is with his game right now?
You know what? I think coming from an organization and being new and coming in, I think there's an adjustment period. It's no different with anything else. You're learning the coaches. You're learning the city. You're familiarizing yourself with new teammates, and it's a little bit of a process, and that process takes a little bit of time. And I think there's still an adjustment period. And I think any player goes through that. I think he's going through that right now. The one thing that he does is he works, he competes, he puts his body on the line every night. You watch him, how he sacrifices himself. So an adjustment period, and I think everybody goes through that. But he's competing and working his way through it.
What about this Colorado team, Todd? Obviously, everyone knows how good they are. They've been, a little bit up and down. It's a different-looking team. They certainly lost some players from last year. What do you see when you guys put the video on?
Well, they're defending Cup champions, so they obviously know how to win. They had a great season last year, regular season and throughout the playoffs. But they're good all the way around. From the net out, they made the change there. I think they upgraded there. They got great defensemen. They got mobile defensemen. Makar, with the season he had, and winning the Norris Trophy last year, obviously he's very dynamic in how he plays on the back end. And then you look at the group of forwards up front. Yeah, they have made some changes, but I don't think that they are changes that really affected their team and pushing them back. I think they're the same team, maybe even a little bit better. But I think once you get a taste of winning, that really propels you and gets you going. I think could be a little bit of a hangover period, but as far as talent goes and what they have on their team, they're a very, very worthy opponent.
Well, Todd, to that point, I mean, you bring up Makar, and it's not often throughout the league that when you're asking about defending a player, it's a defenseman. But you guys have that with Roman Josi. Obviously, they've got that with Cale Makar. As it relates to defending him and the offense that he can bring to the table and his dynamic skating ability, what all goes in to make sure that Cale Makar just doesn't take over out there?
Well, you have to know, number one, whenever you step over the boards, is he out on the ice? And you do have to make a special note to yourself in where he is on the ice. And if as far as players setting yourself up, if I'm playing against them, what you want to do is make sure you're on the right side of him because he's an elite skater. Obviously, he thinks the game, sees the game really well, but he's an elite skater that if you get a step behind him, he's going to beat you up the ice. And a couple things that you can do is number one, you got to be physical on him. You got to be in control. You can't be out of control. If you're going at him too hard, he's too shifty. He'll step to one side, make you miss, and then jump by you. But if you can finish him and make him work, the important thing in when they're in their D zone and we're in the offensive zone, in the corners, you have to hit, get them up against the boards, but you got to move your feet first out of those battles, because if you hesitate at all. And it's not just him, really their whole defensive core. That's what they do extremely well, is they look to skate, and if they get a step on you, you're going to be chasing. And versus these elite players, Roman Josi's one of them on our team. You get on the wrong side of them, there could be a play at the other end of the ice.
Todd, last thing for you here. What has Jordan Gross brought to your group, especially with just his offensive ability on the power play and just his ability to move the puck back there on the D-core? What do you think that adds to your group?
Well, I think that's exactly, you said it, the offensive talents that he has, the abilities. I'm still learning his game and watching him play. He's a new player, but you watch him, just how he positions himself out on the ice. Scored 2 big goals in Vancouver, and that's a real skill. It's not just obviously the goal, but you have to, as a defenseman, you working the line, and you watch Roman Josi do it. Roman does it extremely well, and these really good offensive defensemen, they find ways to get pucks through and to the net. And he was rewarded, not necessarily with his first goal, but the second goal in Vancouver is a perfect example of that, of missing that initial player that's coming out to block, getting it to the net, and then it just kind of found its way there. But the good defensemen in the league have a knack for doing that, and it's not just his Grossi's shooting. You watch him going back on pucks and his vision through the neutral zone, and then just the ability to passes and put passes in the right spot for your teammates, so we can play a fast game coming up out of our defensive zone and also through the neutral zone.
Well, Todd, we're looking forward to the game tonight. Really appreciate you taking time to join us this morning, and good luck. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys.
Hey, thanks for being with us. Todd Richards, Predators assistant coach, our guest here on Robby and Rexrode. Coming up next, it's time for Preds Pick to Click. As we just heard, Preds taking on the Colorado Avalanche tonight. Be the first caller at 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. If you guess the goal scorer tonight for the Predators, you'll win a pair of tickets to a future Nashville Predators home game. Preds Pick to Click up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
Want the latest on college football and Nashville sports?
He looks like 1,000 quarterbacks I've seen in a college game.
Join Outkick 360's Chad Withrow every Friday at 5 with Stillman and Company.
The coaching staff kept him and got rid of the other guy.
He'll bring opinions and charisma for a full half hour every week.
If he's so great in the locker room, then give him a coaching gig.
Chad Withrow is presented by Two Rivers Ford. Custom order your new Ford from Two Rivers Ford on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. Forecast for us today. Seeing high temperatures in the middle 70s and increasing cloud cover. Rain returns overnight tonight into your Friday, and then temperatures fall into the 50s for the upcoming weekend.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Ajax Turner Company, Middle Tennessee's Anheuser-Busch distributor, is hiring full-time warehouse order pickers, forklift drivers, merchandisers, delivery, and more. Pay rates have increased, and new hires will now be eligible for a $500 sign-on bonus. This is more than seasonal work. This is a career with year-round stability and promotional opportunities. Go to ajaxturner.com/careers to apply or call 615-280-3904 for further details about open positions. Please remember to drink responsibly.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 18th, 19th, and 20th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, Genesis selection is nearly double, with designers flying in their entire collection all on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Luxury pre-owned Rolex is also included. Save up to 35% and get zero interest financing. Genesis Diamonds. November 18th through 20th only, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Blackberry Smoke's Brothers and Sisters Ryman Reunion.
Yeah, I can feel a good one coming on.
Thursday and Friday, February 9th and 10th, Ryman Auditorium.
Are we waiting for the thunder?
Blackberry Smoke.
My pony ride out of this one horse town.
Tickets on sale this Friday at 11 a.m. at Ryman.com. Sponsored by PNC Bank and Access, proud partners of Ryman Auditorium.
Everyone can boost their digital confidence with NordVPN. All it takes is one simple click. NordVPN will block online trackers, hide your virtual location, and secure your devices from malware-infected files during downloads. It will also detect malicious websites. So catch the Black Friday deal for a 1 or 2 year plan at NordVPN.com and get 3 months for free. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
Ladies and gentlemen, please. 40, love, match point. Out.
There's no way that was out.
Out. The ball is out. It's out.
Are you even watching?
No, honestly, I'm not. I'm watching college football on my phone with AT&T 5G.
Wow, that's too much.
With AT&T 5G, too much college football is never too much. 5G requires compatible plan and device. 5G may not be available in your area. See att.com/5G for you for details.
Need assistance with door and window projects? The Home Depot can help. From inspiration and materials to ordering and installation, our free Millwork virtual apron service can get you moving and doing. Plus, we speak Spanish too. Our associates can help you tackle complex jobs without you leaving the job site, saving you time and money. Call us at 1-833-HD-APRON or visit homedepot.com/MVA. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Jared Stillman.
This is a team that the entire city is losing their minds over.
Caroline Fenton.
It's one of the youngest teams in the league. They don't have a single player over the age of 30.
Stillman and Company. Afternoons from 2 to 6.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app. It's time for Preds Picks to click.
And a shot at the score.
Do you think you know who will score a goal in tonight's Predators game?
Little give and go.
Shoot your shot for a chance to win Preds tickets. Call 615-737-1025 now. Pick to Click is brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they are preferred so often. And by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. It's Pick to Click, now on Robby and Rexrode.
It is that time of the day, time for Preds Pick to Click here on Robby and Rexrode, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty and Superbook Sports. The Preds in action tonight, taking on the reigning Stanley Cup champion, Colorado Avalanche. First time they will have seen the Avalanche since last year in the playoffs. So we'll see how the Predators at 5-7-1 respond to that challenge. The standings in Preds Pick to Click are as such. Some movement the other night with Philip Forsberg's goal. The listeners and Michelle Knezovic tied for first place with 3 correct answers.
Woo!
Joe Rexrode and myself tied for last place with 2 correct answers in the competition.
Third. It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Third place.
Yeah.
That's a ribbon.
That is a ribbon.
The trophy.
With that in mind, let's go to our 102.5 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Caleb. Caleb, thanks for calling in the Preds Pick to Click. Who is your pick to click tonight for the Nashville Predators?
What's up, guys? Joe, looks like you've got a little bit of company there on the losers board.
You do.
So maybe Robby can keep you warm down there. But anyway, so I took my guy Janot last time, but give me Forsberg this time. He seems to be the hot hand right now.
Caleb, appreciate the call and the dig
All
for
right.
Caleb there. That was
Get some
good.
trash talk in there,
Good.
Caleb.
I
All
like
right. Okay.
Look, spice up this competition a little bit. Caleb going with Philip Forsberg off the jump. I'm up next. So I will go. I just enjoy Rexrode's face every time.
You really got to keep track of this.
And then when you are first, somebody picks Forsberg.
Keeping track. I will go with – this one's tough. It really is. I'll go Nino. I'll go Nino Niederreiter to score a goal tonight. Forsberg, Niederreiter off the board. Joe, you're up next.
Oh, wow. What a surprise.
Yeah.
This is tough. I feel like he's going to –
Well, the fact that it is tough does not speak well of how the Predators are playing right now.
Yeah, well, it could be tough because it's like so many great
could be.
choices, but that's not why. That's not why it's tough.
Nope.
I'll go Tanner Jeannot.
Tanner Jeannot, the selection by Joe Rexrode. I like it. Forsberg, Niederreiter, Jeannot off the board. Michelle Knezovic, your pick to click tonight for the Nashville Predators.
Thank you, Joe, for not picking him. A little revenge tour, Matt Duchene.
Okay, I was actually about to.
Well,
So
thank you for not.
now he'll score. Yeah.
Matt Duchene, the selection by Michelle Knezovic. Forsberg, Niederreiter, Jeannot, and Matt Duchene, the selections in Preds Pick to Click. Presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty and Superbook Sports. This is an interesting one tonight for the Predators, by the way. Pregame at 7 o'clock. I'll be on the pregame and postgame shows tonight, so looking forward to that. Preds on the road in Colorado, taking on Cale Makar, Nathan McKinnon, and the Colorado Avalanche. Joe, at first blush, just to be quite frank, that does not seem like the recipe the Predators are looking for. After a tough loss against Seattle the other night, they're at 5-7-1. A lot of things they need to figure out as the season moves ahead here. It's the NHL, so things like this happen. Obviously, Colorado's not unbeatable. They've lost 5 games already this year. So, not saying the Predators don't have any chance. It just does seem like on the surface, coming off a 5-1 loss to Seattle, taking on the defending Cup champions on the road is a daunting task.
Yeah, but maybe they need something like that. Maybe a win like that means more than, a win over the lowly like Blackhawks right now. By the way, they're not that lowly.
They're
come
progressively
on, they're
becoming
lowly.
lowlier.
Yeah,
Yes.
they'll find their way. They'll find their way to their destiny.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean you got this, and then you come home and you got a big one against the Rangers Saturday. So, this would be. I mean, look, if they get this, then you're talking about a winning road trip. I mean, for as rough as the big picture still looks right now, losing 8 of 11, a winning road trip,
yeah,
not bad.
You'll take it. Absolutely. Now, the bottom line is, and I was looking at this last night, just thinking about what this means, and I'm not sure it really means anything yet because the schedule is so short into the season. But of the teams that currently occupy a playoff spot, which is even hilarious to discuss this early into the season in the Western Conference, Predators not beating any of those teams. They do not have a win against a team that is currently in a playoff spot. They've beaten Calgary, they've beaten Vancouver, San Jose twice, and they've beaten St. Louis. None of those teams are in a playoff spot right now.
But see, Calgary and St. Louis are 2 teams that I absolutely expected both to be in there, and I think they both absolutely
Calgary
could be.
will be in there. St. Louis, I'm starting to wonder about. They've lost 8 in a row. It's not good.
Yeah, what's happening with them?
I don't know. 8 in a row. They can't score.
We sitting there talking. It's going to be blue. Is it going to be the Blues or the Preds in the 2? Who's going to be hosting who in that big series?
I mean, right now, they're just awful. So, I mean, look, I think the Blues have too much talent to be this bad the whole year. You can make the same argument with the Preds. I mean, I think you brought up a good point yesterday. Like, if you're looking for a reason for encouragement, if you're a Predators fan, Like, UC Saros has been pretty bad thus far. How long is that going to continue? Like, how long do we realistically expect Saros to be bad? Now, have good goaltenders had bad seasons before? Yeah, it happens. Sometimes players just lose it. That happens too. I don't think that's happening with UC Saros. He still makes some saves where you're like, okay, that was pretty good. So I guess the glass half full version, if you're a Predators fan, is, well, Saros has been bad so far, and when he's good, that's when they're going to right the ship. Now, in fairness, it's not just Saros. There's a lot of things going wrong. We keep talking about the power play. They're 29th in the league on the power play right now. It's not going to get it done. You're at 14.3%. So you had a top 10 power play the whole year last year, and it's been at the bottom of the league the whole year so far this year. That's not good. So there's many things that go into it, but it would be good to get Saros back in track. I'll be honest with you, Joe. You know, conventional wisdom would say it's Saros tonight in there against Colorado. I'm interested to see what they do. I think there's a chance Lankinen could go.
Yeah, Lankinen's played well. It's you know, give him a little bit of an extended break. I wouldn't rule that out. But Saros and the power play to me are in the same kind of category too of things that there's no reason that they should continue to be this bad. I mean, there's no reason the power play should continue to be this bad. I watch them, and again, I know the second unit's moving pieces, and that's kind of all over the place. But the first unit, they're in their heads right now. Now, can that last for a whole season? Well, I mean, I guess they've had some bad power plays in recent years where they had good personnel on the power plays, and they had like tried every single person in the building to take over the power play for about a month, and then we'll switch it to this guy, and I'll switch it to this guy. But I just can't believe it's going to stay this bad. If it does, they're in trouble.
Well, this is also Colorado's first game after coming off the Europe trip. So we've seen the Europe trip and what that did to the Predators earlier this year. I thought they were basically the walking dead out there in that first game against Dallas, and maybe even into the second game too. Colorado, they go to Europe. They beat Columbus twice. You fly back over. They hadn't played since Saturday, so you're sitting here on Thursday. It's the same situation the Predators had. Get a few days off. Is there a little bit of sluggishness that comes with Colorado? And if so, it's one thing to have that. Can you take advantage of it if you're the Predators? That's going to have to be the question. I don't expect Colorado to be sharp.
Yeah.
To start.
When you're hoping for your opponent to be sluggish because of a Europe trip, But it is Colorado.
It is Colorado.
So it's all relative.
Allie in Bellevue on the text line says, why does Robby find it hilarious to discuss NHL playoffs this early, but that's his favorite part of college football?
Ooh, wow, let's shame Robby. Yeah, there you go. There you go. I am very disappointed in Gover for agreeing with you. Come on.
There are 69 games remaining in the Predator season. It's quite a few.
That is true.
Quite a few games left on the schedule. Yeah, thank you.
All shaming of Robby and his college football playoff take is welcome on the show.
Kevin on the text line says, Joe and Robby, just wanted to say I'm always glad to have you all part of my day. Y'all have made my morning sitting in traffic here on 24 Better, listening to y'all talk sports. Thank you, Kevin. We appreciate it.
That's sweet.
We've yelled at each other a little bit more than normal today.
I know. People are like Robby versus Rex.
I always love when this happens and yesterday we've had a couple of days in a row of yelling at each other.
Get the juices flowing. I
like when this happens because I will have like family members be like, "Y'all okay?" Like, yeah, we're fine. Like they're like legitimately concerned that you and I hate each other after we yell at each other.
Oh, wow.
Don't worry, I'm nice. Dr. Phil or Dr. Michelle.
Well, at least your family listens to our show. My family's like, who are you? Can I have some money?
615-737-1025. By the way, Taylor on the text line says, the Preds won't be competitive in the playoffs regardless if they right the ship. At this point, I'm cool with playing for a lottery pick. This is from Taylor on the text line. We have heard that idea floated out there from many a Predator fan over the last few months.
Oh, boy. You got a mailbag? Boy. I mean, I don't know how many different ways you can ask if someone could get fired.
I'm looking forward to the release of this mailbag.
It's out.
Oh, good. I need to read it.
Athletic.com.
615-737-1025. Coming up next, we'll get back into the Titans. We'll get into the injury report from yesterday. Some of it bad, and at least one bit of it pretty good news for the Titans yesterday. All that coming up next. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
312 Pizza Company is home to Southeastern Carolines with Caroline Fenton.
You watch the game.
Sliding across, making the stop, UC Cerro.
We talk the game.
That wraparound goal by Sanford was a beaut.
Tanner Janot, Ryan Johansson gets on the board.
We are The Game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Back at home, this is the Commodore Report. I'm Kevin Ingram. Off a season-opening win on Monday, Vanderbilt women's basketball plays its home opener tonight against Samford. 6:30 start at Memorial Gym with streaming on SEC Network Plus and radio coverage on the Vanderbilt Sports Network. The Commodore men play again Friday against Southern Miss. As the football season enters the home stretch, Vanderbilt would still love to see the return of senior defensive lineman and captain Davion Davis, who spent the past year recovering from a knee injury. Davis has been able to practice in shoulder pads for the first time this week. Says he's gained perspective from being sidelined.
Anybody that's had an injury and has to sit out probably knows. I mean, it's the toughest thing in the world to have a heart full of passion for a game and your brothers that are out there and not be able to participate. But it's definitely helped me step back and see a new way to grow myself as a leader and just as a humble worker.
Davis was injured in last November's matchup with Kentucky, and the Commodores and Wildcats will play at 11 a.m. this Saturday, pregame at 9:30. Vanderbilt soccer team heads to South Carolina today for Friday's NCAA tournament match against Clemson. Graduate student and forward Peyton Cutshaw was terrific in the SEC tourney with a goal in each game. Says they were thrilled to get the bid and have a chance to keep playing.
Sitting on the edge of our seats, not knowing where the tables were going to turn or if that was my last game of my career, and just hearing our name called up on the board was so rewarding and exciting, and I know this team has so much more to give.
Cutshaw has battled knee injuries of her own, and you can hear more with her on this week's edition of the Anchor Podcast. That is the Commodore Report on 102.5 The Game and 94.9 The Fan.
Hey Nashville, TJ Anderson here. With real estate listings, you have to read between the lines. Like, cozy means super small. Great bones means money pit. And motivated sellers? Well, that means the honeymoon is probably over for them. My team at TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty is ready to help both home buyers and sellers decode the market. Oh, and if the house needs a little TLC, you should probably pack your hazmat suit. Google TJ Anderson Homes, read our reviews, and see why we are referred for a reason. TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, 615-432-2919.
If you missed the latest on Chase, Willie, and D-Mace.
ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck. He joins us every Tuesday at noon.
For anyone who saw the sequence of plays for Josh Allen, it is a bit curious. He's going to throw the football. The ball gets knocked out of his hands. It's definitely a bad-looking play for Josh Allen in terms of, did he really hurt his elbow? Because I thought he did live. I thought the way that he was grabbing at it, certainly was alarming. Now, he launches the ball way down the field, I believe the very next play. I would just say this, if they're evaluating his UCL, which is what they've said they're doing, and he can't go or there's some concern there because of the long prospects of his career, Buffalo no longer is a playoff team.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Two icons, one night. Billy Joel, Stevie Nicks. Friday, May 19th, Nissan Stadium. Tickets on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at livenation.com. Together in Nashville for the first time ever. Don't miss Billy Joel and Stevie Nicks.
From the Hillside Medical Game Studios, your Nashville Predators wrap up a 5-game road trip against the defending Stanley Cup champion Colorado Avalanche. Coverage begins at 7 on your home for Smashville. WPRT-FM Pegram, WBUC HD2 Laverne,
a Cromwell media station.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Mixing sports and a little bit of fun.
This is fun!
On your morning drive, this is Robby and Rexrode. With Robby Stanley and Joe Rexrode on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's showtime.
Welcome back in. Final hour, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Robby Stanley alongside Joe Rexrode. Michelle Knezovic here with you on this Thursday morning in Nashville, Tennessee. We are taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. Got the injury report that was out yesterday from the Titans, and boy, is it lengthy. We read off the whole thing earlier. I mean, basically you look at the starting defense, and what did we determine? Everybody except Rashad Weaver, Kevin Byard. That's about it. I mean, Roger McCreary's not on there, so that's good.
Yeah, McCreary. There you go. Is Tart on there? Tart's on there?
Tart is on there.
Yeah,
with an illness.
So there you go. It is amazing when you.
So 3 guys on the defense
Yeah.
that start are not on injury report.
That are not on it.
That's good.
And guys who are on it who I think are real threats to not play would be Zach Cunningham, the elbow's back. Bud Dupree, the hip's back. Amani Hooker, of course, the shoulder kept him out last week, and he's out again this week.
Yep.
And I will say a 4th guy, Jeffrey Simmons with the ankle. It looked like he did aggravate it late in the Kansas City game. And look, I mean, he's played, and he's played extremely explosively since getting it. So I certainly wouldn't rule him out Sunday, but I wonder if that's a little bit of an aggravation because, by the way, for all of you doctors out there, you can make an ankle injury worse, despite what some who are not doctors, who claim to be doctors, may tell you on these airwaves.
That can happen. Christian Fulton with a hamstring injury, a limited participant yesterday at Titans practice. So obviously anytime there's a hamstring or soft tissue, you monitor that as you move forward here. So a lot of members of the Titans on the injury report. Now, Derrick Henry's on there as a rest day. Danico Autry, not injury-related, a limited participant, along with Derrick Henry yesterday. So I think some of these guys that are on the report, maybe you're not all that worried about, like David Long Jr. with a knee, a limited participant. Who knows on that front? I guess we'll wait and see. But your hope is that some of these guys, after a long, physical, exhaustive game, especially for the defense against Kansas City, that it's just more precautionary than anything else. But I'll tell you, I think this is absolutely a game they could win against the Broncos, even if Malik Willis is a starting quarterback. The one way to counteract that is to start having a ton of guys on your defense that's playing really well out of the lineup. That would not be good for the Titans.
Yeah. Yeah, but you play 90-plus plays in a game.
Yeah.
I mean, if the Chiefs – that's about what the Chiefs would have to play with their defense if they played the Titans twice in a row. I mean, it's that's excessive. You know, you're preparing for being in the 60s. They went into the 90s. So, and Vrabel made it clear, like almost I think right after the game, like this is going to be a week where they have to adjust to that. So, yeah, today's report will be very telling.
Ryan Tannehill on the injury report, a limited participant in practice with the ankle injury. Joe, you were there for practice and Ryan Tannehill's press conference yesterday, and keep in mind the practice viewing this time of year is very limited in what you see.
I didn't view practice either, so
I'll
be honest
there
with
we go.
you. I should have been out there looking for clues, though.
You should have been. Could have gone a little Pink Panther out there. But what did you make of Ryan Tannehill's comments on his ankle injury? Talked about dealing with the frustration of how long it takes to heal, still dealing with the frustration, and went through his process of what was going through his mind trying to play last week. Limited participant yesterday on the field with the ankle injury. Obviously, that's something we'll keep our close eye on today as the injury report comes out as well.
I'm just disappointed he feels he has to lie about just being soft and not wanting to play football anymore. I think that's the real story here that no one's willing to say except for one courageous person in Nashville.
That's right.
No, I thought Tannehill, that was all a joke. And by the way, DJ Burnside, that may be your best work yet, with a little picture of Jared with like the amazing thing about this Photoshop that he just put out is it adds like the little picture of Tannehill talking to Vrabel.
Yeah.
Like, look, he's telling him, I'm sorry, Mike, I don't want to play.
Photo of McNair in the background on the wall. It's all pretty good.
Just outstanding. So follow him if you don't already. Yeah, retweet that.
At Dennis J. Burnside.
Yeah, Dennis J. Burnside. That's brilliant work. But Tannehill talked yesterday about how frustrating it was and how, basically I took one of the things he said yesterday, which was that it's going to be with him for a while. Not necessarily to say he's definitely not playing Sunday, but I kind of, as soon as you said that, I'm like, yep, Malik Willis Sunday. That's my guess. That is my guess right now. Malik Willis gets another start Sunday. Look, if you can't move at all, and unless Tannehill was actually faking it Sunday, like seriously, think about how dumb it is to say that out loud, but I said it, then his mobility with that ankle as of Sunday was really limited.
Yep.
And almost not worth even trying. I would actually argue good for him for being willing to get on the plane and at least hoping, because that's what he talked about yesterday, is kind of he was hoping last week that there would be more progress than there was, and there just wasn't. And he's frustrated. And I take him at his word on all of those things. I don't think he's making anything up there.
They did get some good news on the injury front yesterday. Traylon Burks has been activated in his window to return from injured reserve, so that does not mean that he's necessarily playing on Sunday as the Titans take on the Broncos, but good for him to be activated and to get back out there. We'll obviously monitor the status of Elijah Molden this week as he's in the middle of his process to return too, so a couple of guys there to keep an eye on in terms of making their way back from IR. Elijah Molden on the defensive side of the ball, and Traylon Burks possibly returning on Sunday as well.
Yeah, Burks much more urgent for this offense, regardless of who's at quarterback, just to have someone out there who on the outside can make a play. That's kind of where things are at this point. But Molden would be a timely return too. At some point they're going to get him. And I think McCreary will really benefit from just being able to focus on being an outside corner along with Fulton. And, McCreary's been picked on a little bit. He's given up some plays, but it's like what Fulton gave up the one deep pass with perfect technique and coverage.
I'm not worried about Roger McCreary.
No, he's looking good out there. So what does it look like if you have Molden playing the way I thought Molden was really improving late last year? The problem is, who knows how much rust is there, and is there any lingering effect from this injury? It's obviously been a long-term thing. He tried to come back during camp, and it was very short-lived. But this defense, as banged up as it appears to be right now, could definitely use a little boost there.
Let's go to our 1025 The Game phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and welcome in Matt from Clarksville. Matt, thanks for calling in.
Appreciate it, guys. Hey, I just wanted to touch on some injury things. And with the Josh Allen injury right now, if he doesn't play this season, how much do you guys think that affects the actual Titans' playoff chances? Say we're in the playoffs and we have Olendaye and, we have Tannehill back and, we're healthier, we have Burks back. How much do you think that affects our chances if the Bills don't have Josh Allen?
Hey, thanks for the call, Matt. I mean, we discussed the Josh Allen thing a little bit earlier in terms of the UCL injury. Like, it's one of those things where I don't think anybody really knows what it's going to be right now, and Sean McDermott obviously was asked a lot about it yesterday at his press conference. Josh Allen is listed as day-to-day right now. So, that puts his status for the game coming up on Sunday against Minnesota in jeopardy. But, Joe, it's a UCL on his elbow, on his throwing elbow. That can't be comforting for the Buffalo Bills. If this is a longer-term thing and he has to be out for a while, particularly if he has to be out for the rest of the season, if they're that worried about it, to me that totally changes the AFC. Like, they're, to me, the favorite in the AFC. And if he's out, they still got a lot of talent around who would Case Keenum, who would be the backup quarterback. They're nowhere near the same without Josh Allen in there. It totally changes everything in the AFC.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that the whole season-ending thing, I think that's pretty much been put to bed, right?
I think so.
Probably, we think so. I mean, I at this point, if that's what it is, like, there's really no point in not putting him on IR, right? Now, could it be somewhat like the Tannehill situation with, we're hoping he goes, and then week after week he doesn't? It could be. He did throw one deep pass after sustaining the injury in the game. But the thing about that is, if they do, and by the way, I think the Vikings-Bills line has gone down from 8 to 3.5. Yeah. I mean, it could put them in a worse spot. The Titans could potentially potentially play a Bills game at home now. And would that matter? I would say that would be pretty significant. The thing, if you're the Titans, is you look at this injury, maybe it affects the Bills' bottom line, and you just almost beat the Chiefs and had home field tiebreaker against them. We could actually be sitting here talking today about the 1 seed. But still, yeah, it could matter for sure. The more games you can play at home, I know the Titans and home playoff games have not mixed well lately, but that's still what you would prefer if you're the Titans.
We'll continue the discussion on the Titans. What could the addition of Traylon Burks back into the offense mean for this team as they move forward? We'll continue that discussion coming up next. Let me tell you about my friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. Now's the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. All you got to do is sign up with promo code ROB. We've talked about the Thursday night football matchup. I've got the Falcons taking down the Panthers tonight, but you can take it any way you want to take it. I would also look at this weekend's matchup between Green Bay and Dallas. Heavy on the Cowboys. That's my advice to you. Heavy on the Cowboys. Make sure you're doing it on FanDuel, all an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Sign up today with promo code ROB for your no-sweat first bet. Once again, that promo code is ROB. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
White 85!
Every team needs a quarterback.
White 85!
That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown!
Tim. ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
How that team is built, I think there's a lot to like about them.
Every Tuesday at noon, Tim with Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Presented by Red Spirit and Wine in Bellevue on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Attention hockey fans, come see Northeastern and Western Michigan face off at this year's Music City Hockey Classic in a matchup of two of the NCAA's top 20 ranked college teams at Bridgestone Arena Friday, November 25th, 6:30 p.m. Get your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com. Let the puck drop and the excitement begin. Northeastern Huskies versus the Western Michigan Broncos in Nashville, November 25th.
Men, are you asking yourself questions like, why am I gaining fat? Why is my energy or sex drive down and maybe haven't been getting the exercise you need? If you want to get back to the man you used to be but just don't have that youthful energy, that edge you once had, you very well might have low testosterone. Low T causes all kinds of issues, from a reduced libido, lower drive, and bad sleep patterns to problems with muscle gain, bone density, and more. It may even contribute to erectile dysfunction, and if this sounds like you, it's probably time to get treated for your low T. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've treated thousands of men for low T. We've seen them put on muscle, add to their energy, improve their sex lives, get better sleep, and just feel better. Plus, if you're like most men, you'll see results in only a few weeks. So make an appointment today and experience how testosterone therapy can truly change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. Call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments, extra. Results vary.
Bob's Steak and Chop House in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hi, this is Chef Mark again from Bob's Steak and Chop House at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Come join us before any Preds game or concert at Bridgestone Arena. Enjoy one of our prime steaks. Why Bob's, you may ask? Because at Bob's, we not only serve prime beef, but the top 2% of prime beef in the world. Try our certified Japanese A5 or Australian tomahawks. So come see us at Omni before go to any game and make sure to ask for Chef Mark. Let's go Preds!
Attending an event downtown? Dine at Bob's Steak and Chop House in the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Genesis Diamond's biggest and last sale of the year is coming. November 18th, 19th, and 20th. It's an extraordinary event with savings of 20, 25, up to 35% store-wide. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, bracelets. Nothing's held back for this once-a-year, 3-day store-wide sale. Acclaimed designers will be flying in with expanded collections and special pricing. Plus, get 0% interest financing. Luxury pre-owned Rolexes are also included. It's the final store-wide sale of the year with discounts up to 35%. Genesis Diamond, November 18th through 20th only. Green Hills and Cool Springs.
It's on. It's happening. Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way. I'm watching a game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We may now begin our day. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Make sure you check out the Eddie George Show featuring Jonathan Hutton on 102.5, 106.3 The Game on Monday at 6 o'clock, live from 6th and Peabody. The Eddie George Show brought to you by Low T Centers and Xander Insurance. Xander gives you more options. More options mean more savings for you. Get your free quote at XanderInsurance.com. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook. Our video streaming brought to you by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. We are live from the Hillside Medical Game Studio on this Thursday morning. I got a pair of tickets to give away to see MTSU this Saturday as they take on the Charlotte 49ers at Floyd Stadium. Be caller number 3, 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. Caller number 3 will win a pair of tickets to see MTSU take on Charlotte at Floyd Stadium coming up this Saturday. So, Joe, we discussed Treylon Burks. He's been activated in his window to return coming off of injured reserve. We'll see whether or not that's this Sunday against Denver. Let's just say it is. Let's say Treylon Burks is back out there. He's available. And let's say it plays out the way that we think it might, and Malik Willis is the starting quarterback. How much does the addition of Treylon Burks mean in this game, this matchup, with this quarterback situation if he's back in there on Sunday?
9 catches, 127 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's my projection.
I like it.
That's my over-under.
You did extensive formulas in the pre-show meeting to come up with that number, so I'm glad you shared it with us.
Yeah, I mean, believe me. I mean, we had a lot to get through. We had to carefully choreograph the yelling at each other.
We did.
About the college football playoff and everything. I mean, this stuff isn't easy, folks. It's not. I think we're just up here just blabbing into a microphone. It's just not that simple. No,
Izzo was late this morning.
Oh, God, seriously, just because he's got to play on a freaking aircraft carrier tomorrow. Get your priorities in order, buddy. Yeah, I think. Look, Burks, you gotta get some kind of help. I think it would be a big burst of just explosiveness if he's able to go. Maybe just like with Molden last week, maybe they're playing all along. It's like, nope, got to have that week. Let's see how he goes. Let's see how the foot or the toe reacts to him actually being out there practicing and things like that. And there's no plan at all to play him Sunday. I mean, I don't know, but they could use him. They could use him. Just do a sweep. I mean, do a screen. Get something quick in his hands. Throw those fades to him. Throw those fades to him. Those fades to him have a better chance of working than they do to Conley or Westbrook-Akine. I'd do as much as you can possibly do with the guy because they are sorely lacking for playmaking.
They are sorely lacking for playmaking. And like you talked about, the other part of this is, can you create separation? And by the way, Treylon Burks was asked yesterday, and John Glennon put this out there about whether or not he's going to play. He said that's the plan. So we'll see what happens if they're able to stick with that. But according to Treylon Burks, the plan is for him to be out there on Sunday against Denver. But we brought this up earlier, like creating separation. We could talk about the contested catches. Like, does Treylon Burks have a better chance of coming down with that ball than Chris Conley? Probably. Does Treylon Burks have a better chance of coming down with that ball than Nick Westbrook-Akine did on that play? Probably so. But also, does he have a better chance of maybe being a little bit farther away from the defensive backs than those two were? I think definitely. Like, that's the problem. We went through the NFL next-gen stats that kind of highlighted the Titans in that game of creating separation, and there was virtually zero. Like, that's what is missing right now from this receiving core. I was talking to D-Mace about it yesterday. Like, nobody can get open. He goes back and he watches the All-22. It's not quite hashtag Jared's film room, but it's close with D-Mace going back and looking.
It's not quite that level of film expertise than Jared provides, of course.
It's close. He goes back and looks, and D-Mace was talking about it. He's like, you watch him play, and they can't get open. They cannot do it. And I guess that's the hope if you're a Titans fan with Treylon Burks. I think the burst that he has and just the physical tools that he brings to the table gives you a chance maybe to create some of that separation.
I will say this too, and those stats are good, and I think they're overall reflective. But actually, on the Westbrook-Akine play in particular, if he doesn't throw back shoulder, he did have a yard on him. So if you actually led him on that throw, that might have been a touchdown, or at least caught and down at like the 5 or something like that. So that's also how you throw it. But yeah, I'm watching the play over and over right now. You still, it's both hands, And yes, the DB did a good job of punching up like you're supposed to do on the play, but both hands. It's
got to come down that ball.
And honestly, that could be the game. Because now you got a chip shot field goal to make it 20-9, and they've been doing nothing all night.
Yeah, you got to come down with that ball. Like, I think the interesting question with Burks is, like, where exactly is he right now, both physically but also mentally? Like, that's part of this is as you get better and the hope of him getting better throughout the season, yeah, it's physical. Like, you want to find your way physically, but it's also, all right, you've got more reps of seeing actual NFL defenses in a live game setting. You learn a little bit more about what they're trying to do to you. You learn a little bit more about the coverages that you're seeing, how you can take advantage of some of those coverages. I'm not saying that you can't do that at all when you're not on the field. Film study certainly helps, and there's a lot of things that go into it, but there's nothing quite like replicating game action on the field. So I think it's a fair question, like, where exactly is he coming off the injury? Because Vrabel said it yesterday. I think the term he used was he was coming along before the injury. Well, it would be nice for him to have continued that process. He wasn't able to do it. So what does that mean about exactly, number one, where he is, but number two, what you're comfortable asking him to do out there when he does come back? I don't know. It's a good question because they need him to do a lot.
Yeah, and of course, what you're asking him to do is also going to vary a lot, quarterback to quarterback. The whole menu's there whenever Tannehill's back in, and with Willis, it's still going to be. I mean, it's probably going to be screens, fades, and maybe I don't know. Can you get a little full house backfield with Burks back there with? How about Burks, Willis, Henry, Hilliard? I mean, it's time to get creative, man.
It ruins the H thing when we're going Henry, Hilliard, Haskins in there too. But
you're right. Hopefully his middle name is Hank or something.
Maybe so.
I don't know. But yeah, it's once Tannehill's in there, to me you've got to have the mindset of this has to be your number one receiver by the time you get to January. So keep working on that because he has to be. He has to be that guy. Like Robert Woods, I thought this year going into the year, he's been a very good player in this league. Like, okay, maybe he can elevate. It won't be anything close to A.J. Brown, but still, could he be a decent replica of a number one receiver? And it's no, it's not. The answer is no.
No. Well,
there's no one else on the roster that you would even talk about. So no, it has to be Treylon Burks. That has to be the mindset. And again, you put in Phillips in the slot at some point, maybe, then you could look quite a bit different than you looked the last couple games.
You could. And I think you brought up a point that's interesting to think about earlier. Like, I do think, I know the stats maybe won't necessarily prove it that way, but I do think there was improvement from game 1 to game 2 from Malik Willis. Could there be more improvement from game 2 to game 3 from Malik Willis? And if so, what does that mean in terms of like what you're doing with him? I'd be interested to see if like the Titans' plan evolves a little bit more of let's lean a little bit more into the read option. Let's lean a little bit more into that. I think you've got to do it, and Malik Willis is going to be your starting quarterback. And another thing to keep in mind, Denver's coming off their bye week, and before the deadline, they traded Bradley Chubb. So one of the best defenders that they've had is no longer a part of their team. So what does that look like in terms of their ability to affect the quarterback? They've got a good defense. The numbers would suggest their defense is pretty good. A lot of that's been with Bradley Chubb.
Exactly.
What does it look like without Bradley Chubb?
Speaking of that, did you hear Jared versus Joe yesterday?
Yeah.
He actually was like outraged that I said that they might get to 9 points. The Titans. Yeah. Like, how? How's that possible?
9?
How could you possibly say that? Like,
they just scored 14, but yeah. 17.
Yeah. No, but the Broncos.
Oh, the Broncos.
But the Broncos, their total defense numbers are, I mean, come on. Like, well, okay. So we got to bet. Actually, Caroline, she's going to come in here soon? Because she's supposed to set the stakes to bet. Yeah, it's a great question. Obviously, there's a big difference maker for them. So taking him off means what? Look, the Titans have had some stretches of competence on offense. Not enough. And usually in the first halves of games, not the second halves of games, but they've actually, it's not like they've been a two left feet offense the entire, season. So I think they'll get a touchdown or maybe even 2 Sunday.
Well,
I don't want to get crazy calling for 2 touchdowns, but I think that's possible.
Look, the impenetrable Denver defense, they are in the bottom half of the league in rush defense. That could be a problem against Derrick Henry.
Yeah, but don't bring that up. Total defense number is all that matters. What do you rank in total offense? What do you rank in total defense? Those are the only stats that matter. And film study, #hard work.
We'll continue the conversation on the Titans, 615-737-1025. Looking ahead to Titans and Broncos, are we buying that Russell Wilson is just not a good quarterback anymore? We'll discuss that coming up next. But first, Michelle Knezovic has a word from Superbook Sportsbook.
Yes, I do, Robbie. And on Superbook right now, when it comes to sports, it is all happening. We've got football, basketball is rolling, hockey, and soon enough the World Cup. Little Thursday night football action tonight. We got the Atlanta Falcons and the Carolina Panthers. What a game this is going to be. Listen, I'm taking the Atlanta Falcons -2.5. They have been great at covering the spread this year. I think you do Marcus Mariota an anytime touchdown, but I think the Falcons will run away with this one tonight. And there's no better place to wager on all of it than Superbook Sports. When you sign up, deposit, wager all in the same day, Superbook will give you a bonus up to $1,000. That will get you started off very nicely on the app. And when the sports world is busy, it is busy to get winning some money. So all you have to do is just download the Superbook Sportsbook app or visit superbook.com to wager and win today. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Thursday night.
And the rebound try, gloved down by Saros.
Your Nashville Predators wrap up a 5-game road trip against the Stanley Cup champion Colorado Avalanche. Pre-game at 7. Face-off at 8 on your home for Smashville. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Jared from my friends at Hiller. Fall means cooler weather is coming. Make sure your family is warm in your home with this special deal from Hiller. This month, take advantage of Hiller's Happy HVAC Comfort Bundle, which includes an HVAC replacement, germicidal UV light, extended 10-year warranty, and you'll get a free solo smokeless stove. Or get a free solo stove with a new whole home generator or whole home water filtration and de-escalator. Plus, Hiller is offering 0 interest for up to 12 months on these purchases. Hiller's work is backed by the Happy You'll Be Your Services free guarantee. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Don't miss out on Black Friday deals at Electronic Express. Come into our convenient locations for great deals on all of your favorite brands like Samsung, Whirlpool, LG, Polk Audio, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department: computers, appliances, 4K TVs, housewares, furniture, mattresses, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 36 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Chronic joint pain has a snowball effect. It's not just the pain.
What that did is just make me depressed that I couldn't get back into the gym, and I was inactive, gaining weight. I had to find another alternative.
And for Chad, that alternative was QC Kinetics and the non-surgical natural biologic treatments that can give lasting relief to aching hips, shoulders, knees, and backs.
Once they explained it, it made sense. Putting what we have inside our body back into us in a certain strategic way to heal up in a natural process was fantastic.
QC Kinetics treatments take place right in the office. No downtime, no surgery. And as for the outcome,
I'm just back to bouncing around, having fun, doing my work, living pain-free.
Don't let chronic joint pain rob you of your quality of life. Discover advanced regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics. Call now to learn more. It's a free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. 615-249-4024.
Rock and country music's hardest hitters join forces. Five Finger Death Punch. Brantley Gilbert. With special guest Corey Marks. This Wednesday, Bridgestone Arena.
I'm a son of the dirty South.
On sale now at livenation.com. Five Finger Death Punch's new album, Afterlife, out now. Five Finger Death Punch and Brantley Gilbert, live.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, Smashville, this is Sean Henry. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Play silly underdog picks today. Pick 3 football underdog teams you think will win this week for a chance to win great prizes. You can play now at thegamenashville.com or the Game Nashville app. Silly underdog picks presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket and Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. Also, make sure you tune into this Sunday's NFL Game of the Week on 94.9 The Fan. This week's game will feature the Dallas Cowboys against the Green Bay Packers at 3:25. NFL Game of the Week brought to you by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue and Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. Caroline Fenton coming in the room and
Karen on.
Upset.
But hey,
of the nickname.
She's not listening to us. I just wanted to know that we introduced Jaron on to the discussion. So
there we go.
You can go either way with
Cool.
that. Yeah, maybe you should bring Caroline in here and you should yell at her with your.
Maybe that's what
it's
we'll have to
not
do.
A discussion at all.
Well, when they
mute myself.
They lose Arkansas this week, it really won't be a discussion.
Well, that's true. Unfortunately, for all of us, I don't think it will actually materialize as a discussion, but man, it's fun right now to see you get pissed off about it.
Glad you're having a good time with it.
Yeah, I am. Thank you.
Joe, we brought this up earlier. You've been, I know, such a fan of watching Russell Wilson and this Denver Broncos offense operate as many times as we've been fortunate enough to see them on national television so far this year. It's not been good. Nathaniel Hackett in his first year, very disappointing so far. Starting with the first game that was one of the most poorly coached games I think I've ever seen. But Russell Wilson, even beyond the Nathaniel Hackett stuff, hasn't been very good. The numbers aren't good. He's turning the football over. The offense is totally anemic up there in Denver. And it has people wondering and looking at this contract. You make the trade for Russell Wilson, and they're stuck with it. Like they are married to Russell Wilson for the next few years. So my question to you is this. Do you buy that Russell Wilson is just simply this bad now? Is it Nathaniel Hackett? Is it maybe a combination of the two? What do you make of what's going on? A change of scenery? Everything on the table. What do you make of what's going on with Russell Wilson and what we've seen from him thus far?
I think it's possible that he's just, on the downswing here. But I think it's certainly – I mean, I can't put all of this just on Russell Wilson, right? Like you said, Nathaniel Hackett so far, I don't know what you thought of him when he was with Green Bay. I think he didn't
do anything.
People liked him.
Yeah,
right?
like he's the offensive coordinator and doesn't call plays. Like he doesn't do anything. Puts the game plan together. There you go.
Aaron Rodgers liked him,
Yeah.
so he seems like a nice enough guy.
Yeah.
I will say that my outrage at Hackett early in the game, who'd they play? It was
Seattle.
It was the Seattle game. Was somewhat based on you have Russell Wilson, so I guess maybe you could look back in retrospect and be like, well, okay, maybe that doesn't mean all that much. But I mean, the whole thing has been huge disappointment, and a lot of it goes to just what Russell Wilson appears to be as a player right now. Scheme, personnel around him, coaching, all that is a factor, but he's older. I mean, how old is Russell Wilson? He and Cousins were in the 2012 draft class. I mean, it's not old by quarterback standards today, but some people actually do still diminish in their lower and mid 30s, even at
33.
quarterback.
He'll be 34 in a couple weeks.
It's possible. And again, he's had injuries, and that alone, along with 10 years in the league, can get you. I mean, it is not all. The day that deal was made, if we go back and listen to audio of this show, it was like, oh, my God, the NFL. Oh, you messed up now.
Yep.
Here come the Broncos. Let's ride.
Yeah. Well, we know he keeps himself in really good shape. I mean, he was doing those exercises on the team plane over to Europe, and they go over there and they get a big win.
Got the dub.
Back to 3-4 now. I mean, the guy's got 6 touchdown passes, 4 interceptions this year, a 58.8% completion percentage, which is not very good as a starting quarterback in the NFL. Hey, he just looks like he's falling off the table as a player to me. Now, I still look at that offense, Joe, and you've got Judy, you've got Sutton. Like, there are some guys there that make me think this offense should be way better than it's been so far. So how much of that's on Hackett? How much of that's on Wilson? I don't know. But the bottom line is he's been bad this year. And it goes back to the conversation we had earlier. It almost makes you wonder, like we talked about this, how odd it was all offseason in the NFL. You were looking around at all the quarterback movement and the quarterbacks that were available, the quarterbacks in the draft, all these different things, and you're asking yourself, what is Seattle doing? Like, why is Seattle not acting on whether it was Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold, or why didn't they involve themselves in the Deshaun Watson discussion? Like, there's a lot of different things we talked about with Seattle. And so far, Geno Smith has come out there and has played lights out for Seattle, and Russell Wilson has been terrible. And I'm not saying that I necessarily think that, Pete Carroll was looking at Geno Smith and was like, yep, this guy's going to play like the best quarterback in the NFL this year. But maybe there's a chance he was looking at Russell Wilson and saying, yeah, I can see the downturn coming with this guy. I could see it coming, and they got good compensation for him, and they're off and running at 6-3, and the Broncos are here at 3-4.
I watch both of them play, and I believe now that Pete Carroll just thought he was better off with Geno Smith because, and look, I mean, do they still believe that Geno Smith is absolutely, their guy long term and they can chase a championship with him? I don't know, but I have watched a fair amount of them. Go back to last year, and it was kind of like, what is going on? Geno Smith comes off the bench, and I think it was the Rams game, right? Yeah. And he had some good performances, but he looks good. He looks like a better player than Russell Wilson right now, as wild as that sounds. And it's one of those things where you just don't know. Sometimes you get a change of scenery, you get a chance. I mean, Geno Smith coming out of West Virginia, some people are like, "Oh, this guy has the tools to be great." And obviously, it did not work out with the mighty Jets. And this is kind of an example of, I've said it, Chuck Long, if he doesn't get the misfortune of going to the Lions, I think we might still be talking about Chuck Long in his NFL career if he went to a good franchise. And if Peyton Manning went to the Lions, it might be like, gosh, remember when he was a great college quarterback? Too bad it didn't work out in the NFL. I think these things absolutely happen. Some players are probably just inevitable. They're just too good. But a lot of times it is just the opportunity you get and the surroundings and these things. And Russell Wilson has been a great player. There's no doubt about it. But it also you can have a downturn. Just like you can get another chance and prove to be better than people thought, you can downturn. So maybe that's just what's happened to him. And maybe he'll come out and put 4 touchdowns on the Titans Sunday.
Well, that's the thing. Like the Titans defensively, it really feels like they're settling into a groove, and they've played really well lately. And you look at this Denver offense, and it's not gone well. Like the numbers are bad. Pretty much anything you want to talk about with this offense is not good. And you lose your starting running back for the year if you're Denver. There's a lot of things that haven't gone well for the Broncos. So it sets up for, I think, a really, on paper, you'd think the Titans defense has a chance to totally dominate this game. Problem is your offense, with the current state of the roster, with Malik Willis maybe making another start, it's not going to take too much for this Denver offense to maybe get a lead on it. Like this, to me, on paper, Joe, looks like it could be like a 13-10 game. It really does, coming up on Sunday. And it's not always the way it plays out, but it feels like that's where we're trending coming up on Sunday.
If we're sitting here Monday talking about like a 31-28 game, like we're just going to have to laugh at ourselves, but also just how often this happens.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. I don't see many ways around it. I mean, actually, I think the Titans, if you get Henry rolling and you actually can be creative and whatever, we don't know that Tannehill's playing or isn't playing. I mean, it's just totally different game plan either way, but I could see them at home having a little bit more offensive success than you might project. But if their defense is most of it's on the field, I don't like Denver. I don't like their chances at all to score many points in this game. I just don't. It is amazing. 5-year, $242.5 million extension, $161 guaranteed. And he didn't need a new deal.
No.
My goodness.
How's that looking right now?
2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, a 5th-round pick, Drew Lock, Shelby Davis, and Noah Fant.
I mean, I will say, we're going by the total yards rankings. Tides are dead last in the NFL in total yards offensively right now.
That's all that matters.
And like the Broncos are like in the early 20s. They're good. Yeah.
Okay.
Way better spot than Titans.
Well,
the Commanders, the Cowboys, the Bears, the Giants, the Falcons, the Patriots, the Colts, the Steelers, the Texans, the Panthers, the Rams, and the Titans, all behind Denver. So take it that what you will.
Okay. Well, what's the math on that for the scoreboard then? Isn't there some sort of formula where that just guarantees X number of points on a Sunday?
Let's not talk about points per game, where they're at 15.1 points per game, which is 30th in the league.
Who's 31 and 32?
The 31st ranked in total points are the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'll let you guess at 32. You don't have to look very long in this division to find them.
Oh, the Texans.
No.
Wait, when you say this division,
AFC South.
So it is the Titans.
It's the Colts. They're in
Oh, yeah. I forgot about the Colts.
Jeff Saturday's Legion that we're about to see come out there on Sunday.
Oh, God.
Entertaining press conference he had yesterday. A lot of energy with that guy.
There's a lot of excitement about Jeff Saturday. I like Jeff Saturday. I like him a lot. There's a lot of excitement about Jeff Saturday.
I continue, like we've talked about this, but I continue to look around the NFL on a weekly basis, and it is kind of amazing where scoring is right now. Like, you've got so many teams that are in the 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 points a game range. Did not expect that this year in the NFL.
Get ready for some more dumb rule changes.
Yep. That could be coming. 615-737-1025. 615-737-1025. More on the Titans coming up next. Take your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Make sure you tune into the college football game of the week on 102.5, 106.3 The Game this Saturday as MTSU takes on Charlotte at 2:30. College football game of the week brought to you by Twin Peaks, home of 29-degree drafts and wall-to-wall sports. And Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. Forecast for us today. Seeing high temperatures in the middle 70s and increasing cloud cover. Rain returns overnight tonight into your Friday, and then temperatures fall into the 50s for the upcoming weekend.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
It's back. Family Leisure's Ultimate Game Room Sale is back.
Okay, so what's that mean?
That means huge discounts, up to 50% off on all kinds of game room furniture and accessories.
Like what?
Up to 50% off on slate pool tables from Brunswick and Legacy Billiards. Prices start as low as $14.99 installed, plus the matching bars and game tables. Even poker tables to complete our game room are on sale as well. The guaranteed largest selection and lowest prices in the Mid-South.
Wow, perfect for Christmas.
Family Leisure is also featuring huge savings on massage chairs and home theater seating. Full body massage chairs starting at only $9.99. And the top of the line 40 massage chair is more than half off at $29.99.
What about the theater seating?
Family Leisure guarantees to be half off anyone's home theater seating. 3-piece recliner sets start at only $9.99. Full power recline real leather seats are only $19.99.
That's great. And they have stand-up and desktop arcade games with over 600 games, shuffleboards, foosball, and air hockey tables.
It really is the Ultimate Game Room Sale.
The Ultimate Game Room Sale going on now at both locations, Franklin and Antioch.
Family and fun come together.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. This is great. You can keep your low mortgage rate and still get cash out. That's right. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will come your way, and it only costs you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off whatever bills you have, credit cards, consolidate other debt, or start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need the appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
The final matchup of the Tennessee basketball team's 3-game series with Colorado is coming to Nashville. Don't miss the Tennessee Volunteers versus the Colorado Buffaloes at Bridgestone Arena Sunday, November 13th. Be there to witness your Volunteers in action as they look to run their all-time record against Colorado to 5-0. Sunday, November 13th, Bridgestone Arena. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Presented by Red Cap.
When Genesis Diamonds has a sale, you know it's the real deal. And it's happening November 18th, 19th, and 20th. Our final store-wide sale of the year with deep discounts up to 35% off. This is the big one. The one where the staff knows they can break all the rules. Plus, Genesis selection is nearly double, with designers flying in their entire collection all on sale. This is the last and best jewelry buying opportunity of the year. Luxury pre-owned Rolex is also included. Save up to 35% and get 0 interest financing. Genesis Diamonds. November 18th through 20th only, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Jared Stillman.
If you get 3 games where he doesn't turn the ball over, you're going to the Super Bowl.
Caroline Fenton.
I don't know if he would be open to joining another team.
Stillman and Company. Afternoons from 2 to 6.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
This Sunday following the Titans game, tune in for the NFL postgame with Jonathan Hutton and Chad Withrow live from the Superbook Lounge and Landshark Bar and Grill, Margaritaville on Broadway. The postgame show brought to you by Renters Warehouse, Two Rivers Ford. Custom order your new Ford from Two Rivers Ford and Superbook Sports. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Taking your thoughts on the Titans on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025. Andrew on the text line says, Denver giving up 5 yards per carry and a sputtering offense. I think we scored 24 in this game. 24 would be
easy.
An offensive outburst for the Titans.
Easy.
They've gotten there a couple times this year.
Yeah, they have. In one half.
They've not
in
gotten
one half of football.
Not gotten higher than that. But they've gotten to 24 a couple times this year.
That's
it is kind of amazing that we're, what are we, 8 games deep now? No more than 24 points in a game for the Titans.
Yep.
They're 5-3. They've won 5 of them.
2 years ago, 31 a game. Sure.
Yeah. It's great. Gator Tim on the text line said, did Joe just say that if Chuck Long were on the Colts and Peyton Manning was on the Lions, that Long would be in the Hall of Fame and Manning would be a bust? And then he has 4 crying, laughing emoji faces.
No, but that's a great example of how the game of telephone can happen in this on this program. No, but I did say that if Chuck Long didn't go to the Lions and went to a lot of other franchises, he may have been a great NFL quarterback. I believe that. And Peyton Manning may have been a great NFL quarterback no matter where he went. Because remember, the Colts were absolute cheeks when he went there.
Yes.
I'm just saying any player who has been great in this league, I think about them going to the Lions, and I wonder, would that career have been ruined? Now, it didn't ruin Barry Sanders' career. It didn't ruin Calvin Johnson's career either. So there are some people who can overcome it.
Could Matthew Stafford be an all-time great if he didn't spend the first however many years as a Lion?
Yeah.
Could be.
Could be. He still may be
At least
a
he got
Hall of
a
Famer.
Super Bowl.
He got his ring. Now he's in concussion protocol. I mean,
He's in that.
You look at them, by the way, I mean, and he hasn't been as good, but I mean, their offensive line, the protection for him has been absolutely, like, just abhorrent. It's incredible. There's some bad O-lines out there.
John was going back to our discussion of the stats that we just threw out there about Titans defense and the points per game by the Denver offense. Denver offense is bad, but it's not in the upper quartile of bad offenses.
Mm-hmm.
More upper quartile references we can get.
The more we can talk about quartile dysfunction.
Look, I've watched that Jim Irsay press conference, not the whole way through, but I've watched different clips of it probably 35 times this week. It's amazing.
Yeah, I need to go back. Apparently, the Jeff Saturday presser yesterday was like
it was energetic,
the greatest thing ever. So I got to go.
It was kind of like you had Greg Doyle like asking weird questions in there too.
Man, the Doylsters were some good ones, man.
Hey.
No doubt about it.
Who they got this week? Who are the Colts playing this week?
I am
in
not
the
sure.
Jeff Saturday.
The Jeff Saturday debut. I thought they were actually playing a pretty good team.
They're playing it's the Raiders.
Yeah, that's right. It's the Raiders.
It's on the road against the Raiders. They got a chance.
Well, it's funny because I know, like, Tashawn and Vic, who cover the Raiders, both have tweeted this week, like, there's no way they're losing to this Colts team with Jeff Saturday coming in and, like, the intern calling plays. I'm like, I don't know.
Look, man, I know the Titans need the Colts to continue to lose. I'm kind of pulling for the Colts on Sunday. I think it would be hilarious if Jeff Saturday just strolls in there and beats the Raiders.
I do too, especially if this is just Irsay trying to be sneaky tanking.
Yeah.
You know, and all of a sudden he's like, no, Saturday's winning. No. Stop winning.
Well, I mean, the former players, they're all over the Jeff Saturday train. It's like, no pressure, dude. Like, I think it was RG3. RG3 had a tweet late last night. Let me find it. And I was just like, good Lord. And we've talked about Orlovsky and his desire
begging for a job.
Basically begging for a job from Jeff Saturday. This was RG3's tweet last night. Quote, I hope Jeff Saturday does amazing so it can be a catalyst for more players to get head coaching opportunities right off the field or off TV. The NFL needs a shakeup in the coaching ranks, and players having a faster track to becoming a head coach like the NBA is much needed. So RG3's like, Saturday, need you to get in there and win so we can start getting some of these coaching jobs right off the field or right off of TV. And it's like, all right, man, no pressure.
Hey, I'm for it. I'm for more of it. Again, I feel like Favre should be, rather than continuing to come under fire for stealing from people, he could be coaching your guy Aaron Rodgers, and they could be figuring this out right now. You know,
I think the only thing Brett Favre could teach Aaron Rodgers is how to throw more interceptions. That'd be good.
Yeah, he could teach him how to.
Well, he could he could teach him other things off the field too.
Maybe Rodgers give him a little ayahuasca and calm his criminal ass down.
Maybe so. You just had to get that shot in there. That was good.
Sure did. Thank you for the opportunity.
Final thoughts of the day on the Titans-Broncos matchup coming up on Sunday. If Malik Willis is at quarterback, this is going to be a doozy coming up on Sunday. I think the Titans can win it. I think a game plan similar to what we saw the other night probably will be necessary for the Titans to win it. But I honestly, if they run the ball well and you can catch a couple of those balls that you're going to have the opportunity to catch, I still feel like the Titans have a good chance to win this game. Even if Malik Willis is quarterback.
Yeah, it's a huge Todd Downing game if that's the case. And at some point, you have to have second half production. But apart from that, the Derrick Henry stuff, yes, he needed more carries. But the Malik Willis not running in the second half was what I didn't understand. I had less understanding of that. If it's Willis, lean in on what he does well. He can do some things that can bother a defense. So make him that threat and then play off that. And look, he can throw a nice pass too. You just have to find the right opportunities.
Joe, you have a word from OrderGreen.com.
I do. OrderGreen.com is the nation's #1 online shop for all things cannabis. We're talking about edibles, gummies, vapes, flowers, anything you can think of, they've got it. High-quality THC CBD products, high impact mentally, high impact physically, both for me and friends and family members, including one struggling with a serious illness who has gotten a lot out of products at OrderGreen.com. The team has extensive knowledge of all these products. You know you're getting high quality. You're also getting nationwide same-day delivery right to your doorstep, and you get 25% off every shipment of gummies with a subscription. If you use promo code JOE20, you get 20. That's JOE20, JOE20 for 20% off your first purchase.
We have heard from Heidi from Dixon on the text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
It's been a while.
And it just says, Joe, please be right for once. What do we think this is in reference
I'm definitely right on OrderGreen.com. What
Joe,
are you referencing,
Please
Heidi?
be right for once.
That Jared should get a detective hat and a pipe and go in Scotland Yard?
Don't know.
Now we'll have to pick this up tomorrow, Heidi.
Heidi will have to be a little bit more specific, and we'll get back to it coming up tomorrow here on the show. That's going to do it for us today. Tomorrow on the show, we'll have Teron Davenport looking for his thoughts on the Titans and the Broncos. Mike Wilson joining us at 7 o'clock as well to talk Vols as they take on Missouri on Saturday. We'll have Caroline, Willie and D. Mays coming up next. This is Robby and Rexrode, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
You love the game.
Tennessee touchdown! Middle Tennessee gets the score.